What are you guys thankful for? Let's see. If anybody wants to come up and just say what they're thankful for real quick while we start it off. Shoot, to set the tone, right? I'm gonna start it off for myself. I'm thankful that I had a wonderful time with my family. I'm thankful for the platform that God has allowed me to have. I'm thankful for the activities of my limbs, the breath from my lungs. I'm thankful for just the fact that every day I've been able to wake up and do something that I love, and I'll be surrounded by people I love, surrounded by people that respect me and love me and care for me. And I'm just completely thankful for everybody that watches the channel, everybody that participates. I'm just thankful for everything in my life. And that's just what I'm thankful for. Alex.
I'm just thankful for being able to see another day. Like, a lot of people didn't get to make it this far this year. A lot of people didn't get to experience the year that we've had, whether it be good or bad. I'm more appreciative of like the freedom that I have and the things that God allows me to do, because he doesn't have to allow me to do them, but he gives me the will to be able to get stuff done. So I'm just grateful that I got to see another day.
Amen.
Because tomorrow's not promised.
All right, Nitro, you the only one who want to say what you thankful for, so we're gonna bring you up, man. How you doing, Nitro?
What's good?
How you doing, brother?
So I live in Canada, so our Thanksgiving was last month.
Okay.
But still very thankful, right? That for the brothers I got in my life. I'm not talking about blood brothers. I'm talking about those people that God put in your life, right? Thankful that I ran into you guys, right? I'm kind of low on sleep, but I had some deep conversations recently, and that's kind of like, eye-opening, and I'm thankful for that. Thankful for what you guys bring, for those think for yourself type conversations that you guys kind of induce among us, and just wanted to say that, right? Feel like mans are waking up, and I don't mean waking up physically, just right. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Nitro. Appreciate you, guy. All right.
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything that they would like to say, what they thankful for before we get started? The YouTube chat. Let's see. Island Gal said, I'm thankful for my family and friends and for life and the journey I'm on with school. And we pray that you succeed in school every time. Jaden Stephen said, I'm thankful for the life God's blessing me with, an amazing family and amazing parents, and for you guys. And we appreciate you. We thank God for you too.
Oh.
All right. And if people are scared to speak, it's all good. This Flock Talk. Everybody has an open mic, open space. All right. Anyway, let's stop. Let's get to the main thing that everybody wants to talk about. Pop the Balloon. Episode 32 is the one that we just had. A lot of people had a lot of opinions on this episode. So I think we can go person by person or contestant by contestant. Wait, hold on. We just got a $50 bomb from Zeus Titan, $49.99. Thankful for many things, but extremely thankful I came across this page. This has been such a positive environment and inspires me beyond words. Zeus, you inspire me, man. I've never seen somebody so generous that they just give and give and give, and we just do what we can. I thank you. It's people like you that it makes it all worth it, man. I thank you for always being here, for always showing support, for always showing love. So this episode, let's start off, y'all. Let's do it. Let's first things first. Let's talk about the first lady that came in.
Okay, so we're going to be bringing out some single women one by one. When they come around this corner, if you're feeling her, you like what you see, she's your type, she's saying all the right things, do not pop your balloon. However, if there's anything she said that you're kind of like, oh no, this is not the girl for me, I can't bring her home to mama, go ahead and pop, and then I'll go over to a few of you and see why you ended up popping. Are you ready? All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and bring out our first single lady. Hello, welcome in. What's your name?
I'm Kanaya.
And Kanaya, how old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay, and what do you do?
I'm a musician. I'm a performer, artist, and songwriter.
Okay, so the first person that came out was Miss Kanaya, the singer, songwriter. Also, She had a point where she said she was a modest woman. I disagree on what modesty means. I feel like a lot of people don't know what modesty means. But so let's start it off. How did y'all feel about Miss Kanaya coming in? And raise your hands if you got an opinion. Alex, how did you feel about Miss Kanaya?
I completely forgot who she was. First off, a lot of people said she was on a previous episode. I guess she was the woman that rejected old boy for giving all the other women like roses flowers and stuff like that. Yeah. Honestly, just like from her outfit, like from her coming out, I was already checked out. I was already checked out. So
you feel like this outfit was inappropriate? I didn't really have much of an opinion. Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Gino, you first up, gang. Let's do it. Gino, brother, how you doing?
Yo, how y'all doing?
Don't come in here with that sleepy voice, man. We ain't trying to raise nobody up. Want that energy today.
I just woke up, man.
See, it's always... Yeah. You see, the thing about people like you. So how'd you feel about Miss Kanaya, big dog?
She a fraud. Definitely, she a fraud. Like, she say she ain't no. She a genuine person, and her lyrics ain't genuine. Her outfits on her Instagram ain't genuine. And hey, she lied to them, man, and she walked out with a match, and he gonna figure out too.
Yeah, she did get a match actually. So okay, you felt like she wasn't genuine. That's cool. Anything else you want to say about her?
Nothing PG.
Yeah, we gonna keep it PG, dog. Appreciate you. All right, Lil Puddin' Pop, you up? You last time you barely got to speak, but this time here you are, fresh and early. Go ahead and unmute. Tell us, how'd you feel about Kanaya, the first contestant?
I honestly thought that her first initial walk-in entrance, it was a no ma'am for me. Just like Alex saying the thing. No ma'am.
No ma'am.
Go back into that closet and get a top. Get a shirt. This is not how we do it. It's giving a little bit at first your lust segment. And I don't think the intentions is, starting off at a good foot, Definitely, if you already peeped the Instagram and stuff, we're not here for that. We're all about godly stuff,
Okay.
That's all I got.
It's okay. It's a slow start. It's all good. It's a slow start. It's all good. All right. Nitro, how you feel about Miss Kanaya coming out?
Sorry, I had my mic muted on my thing. So how I feel about her overall, I just feel like she went there on a mission compared to her first time and this time. Both times I feel like she was on a mission that wasn't too genuine. I feel like everything that she was saying was more so lip service, and it's just what her goal was to achieve. And I don't think it's really love. I just think it's like what the dude that she matched up with is African and has, I'll take care of everything. There was nothing more to that, right? So I don't think her mission was genuine, but she at least went in there for what she wanted.
Right. And I'm gonna point out, she did end up choosing. I'm gonna show the segment for y'all for that y'all can help remember that. But she did end up choosing the guy that said he believed in paying for everything. So Miss Cat, Crystal Cat, go ahead, talk your talk.
Yeah, off rip, she a fraud, yo. Cause she came in to promote her music and to have a one night stand.
Oof.
That was it.
Oh,
Dang.
That's it. Cause there ain't no way you come in with that outfit looking for love. As soon as she came out, I was like, nah, no. And then I was reminded about that she was the one who popped from Driven in the chat. She's the one who popped on the guy's balloon because he gave the women flowers.
Yep. It's
So
the same lady.
double fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Double fraud. Double no. She doesn't qualify. Okay, she need to go. Next.
Okay, Kat. Okay. As blunt as always, let's do it. Yankee boy, how you feel? How you feel about Miss Kanaya, the first contestant?
First and foremost, happy Thanksgiving holiday to everybody in the chat.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Give thanks to everything, and especially to the flock, especially our flock leader and his lovely counterpart, Miss Alex.
thank you.
First of
Appreciate you.
I got a gripe for you, man. You had me rolling about old boy in the middle, man. What's his name? Dre. Man, you had me rolling sick, man. I swear for God, you ain't right. You is not right. Okay? But getting back to this creature right here, let's review the following, shall we? Yeah. She was the one that was the first one to bomb old boy that was giving out flowers. And now all of a sudden she wanted to become the next carbon copy of what's her face? You know I'm about to say. If it ain't Megan Thee Stallion or Cardi or whatever the case may be, man, everybody trying to make their own gimmick. Okay. Man, I'm glad. One thing about old boy I give the dude with the Crisis the Answer shirt, at least he knew what was up, man, because her face, she wasn't there for real. I mean, the main thing about it is, yeah, he's in the Christ, granted. I love his swagger, but the same token though, it kind of gave me pause, because when he asked the question on her, it just, it was like he was about to give her a shot. But then again, as we go along, the girl who was like what you said, KiteZz, on that, he's willing to give the other girl who barely ain't even like to dodge a chance, rather than giving the one that's at least got a run to start. Mm-hmm. So I could have really taken her serious. And if he would have got with her, man, it would have just been that would have been a cluster fluffle. I can't say what I want to say, but cluster fluffle.
Save your opinions on him, because we gonna bring him up. Save your opinions on him. We gonna focus on Kanaya real quick.
Yeah, because I got a lot to say about him.
Okay.
Like, I was rooting for him, man. I thought it was Banks, man. I was rooting for him. We was all rooting for him. Next thing you know,
hey, just say tragically. We gonna get to it. All right. Thank you, Mr. Yankee. All right. So I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna show you guys some of that segment that everybody was kind of a little teed up on with her about. So she was asked a question. So let's see. Let's move on down here.
I just don't see it that way, so just interchangeable. So.
But what do you see it?
Okay, let's hear from over here.
It's an interesting concept, but I don't think 50-50 is easy. Maybe not too possible, because I think a relationship just changes quite a bit. Some days it could be 70-30, 60-40. So 50-50, I just don't see it that way, so just interchangeable. So.
But what do you see it as, though, like a clear answer?
Teamwork. Teamwork is never equal. There are some times I will be doing more than you, and there are sometimes you will be doing more. So yeah, I just see it as teamwork.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Now, before we pop, guys, any questions for her? Oh, okay. Look, we should have just stayed over there.
Okay. So, for the context, she asked the question, how do you feel about 50-50? She only had those two gentlemen left to choose from. The first gentleman said, I believe that as the man, there is no 50-50. I pay for all the responsibilities. And that man gave the answer of, I believe it's teamwork, not 50-50. Me personally, you guys have heard many times when we talk in our reactions, I believe in everybody commits to everything. I feel like me and Alex have had a successful marriage because there has not been a one time you're giving 70, one time I'm giving 30, one time you're giving this. It has always been even if I find $1 on the floor, that dollar is now Alex's dollar. And if Alex finds 50 cents on the floor, that 50 cent is now my 50 cent. Because we break bread on everything. Because a house divided can't stand. It does no good for us to have a house where one side of our house got $50,000 and the other side of the house doesn't even have a door. But we're supposed to be so quote unquote a team. And so when I get the money, I give it to Alex. Alex pays everything. That's how we do it. And it works out because at the end of the day, it allows me as a man to do my job and provide as much as I need to. But it also gives me the comfortability that at the end of the day, if anything happens to me, my wife is there 100%. Anything I can do, she can do. And we just on that level. But I'm the sole provider, but my co-pilot is not incompetent, right? And that's the thing a lot of people are not getting in these day and ages. People want to be the pilot, the co-pilot, the stewardess, and the passenger on the plane. And then they just expect the partner to fit into whatever. But how do you guys feel about what that gentleman said? How do you feel about this whole 50-50 conversation that she had in this segment? And the fact that she ended up choosing the guy who said he was going to pay for everything. How do you feel? Yankee, you up first, man.
Her case, I feel as though that she's trying to be an opportunist, man. Because the main thing about it, she ain't gonna put nothing into the pot. Because the main thing about it is, she's gonna be focused on her career. So that means all her resources is gonna be focused on funnel to that career. And guess what? Yours is too. Because now you just fell for the trap. Because the main thing about it is, she's gonna use all that resource just to try to get her name out. Whether it be studio time, whether it be getting her reproduction on her CDs or mix her demo, whatever the case may be. Yeah, and guess what happens if she blows up? If she blows up, she may go local and get radio time and stuff like that. But if it doesn't pop within the next couple of months, she's gonna be at somebody's Applebee's. Somebody's she gonna see the light. She's gonna have to find a job, whether it be in service or doing work that's beneath her. But if she really wants to have that grind and have that dog in her 9 out of 10, that's the way she gonna find a light. And 9 out of 10, we didn't even know if she had kids or not. Did they even say that she had children?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe so. I believe in the last one she said she didn't.
I don't even think they asked, honestly.
They didn't even ask that.
Yeah, because because I feel as though, man, that's a question that we should have asked off top, man, does she have kids? Because the main thing about it is, if you want to be a rapper and stuff like that, try to relive her second childhood and try to go for a dream. Now, I'm not knocking nobody who goes for their dreams. Don't get it twisted. But in the same token, though, you should have a plan in play to know how and who to talk to, network, and try to get those things out there in order. I mean, the main thing about it is, for me, she feels like she was clout chasing. And to be honest, to be point blank honest, man, she was on there to clout chase again. So that's how I feel about that.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, we about to get him up right now. Thank you, Mr. Yankee. Talking your talk today. I didn't even mean to cut you off, big dog. My fault, man. It's gonna be a lot of that by accident. It's not intentional. But Mr. Yankee on fire today. Y'all better keep up with his energy, because he talking his talk right now. Mr. Yankee talking his talk right now. Y'all better keep up. How you feel, Kat? How you feel?
Yeah, I 100% agree with what Yankee just said. I feel like I'm not gonna generalize, but I feel like 8 times out of 10, when a woman brings up the 50-50 question, they're looking for a man who says, "Oh, I'm gonna take care of everything." They don't want to do nothing. And I feel like it's automatically in my mind a red flag when a woman asks that question in the first place. I'm just like, why? Because I know they're only thinking about the monetary value. They're not thinking about 50-50 in like a relationship, or how, like, you know, again, that one dude who said about the teamwork thing, I 100% agree with that. I was like, yeah, that's how it should be. Well, it's all this 50-50 nonsense, right? But anytime a woman on Pop the Balloon usually asks the 50-50 question, it's about monetary value, because they just want to be taken care of and not have to do anything. And I felt like it's disingenuous when you're trying to get to know somebody for who they are, not just for their pockets, being a gold digger. So I don't like that question as a whole. When like either side, I feel like it's mostly women who ask it, but I feel like men have asked it as well. But when either side asks it, I'm just like, it's kind of disingenuous to me. I feel like you're not trying to get to know the person. You want to get to know their pockets so that you can exploit it for yourself.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Men's version of asking 50-50 is, what do you bring to the table?
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I don't like the table question.
It's the same. We're saying the same gibberish, but it's just,
Okay.
50-50 or what do you bring to the table?
Like we should be asking, like, do you believe in God? That should be the first question. Offer it. Do you believe in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? That should be the first question.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because then if you don't, can't go from there.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Cat setting the tone. Let's do it. Who's up next? Lil Puddin', welcome back. How you feel? How did you feel about that?
I would have to agree with both Yankee and Cat. What I do find concerning is, again, you put it out there on the table about this whole 50-50 and you don't agree with that. Nothing's all about teamwork and all about union. It's kind of a problem because as we are in this era of like, it's me, myself, and I think about myself rather than my other significant other. That's not how relationships tend to strengthen and unify these days anymore. It's all about the money, who's popular, who's influencing the most in your ear or whatever's out there in society. I find it crazy, nowadays, but we're not back in those times where everything was, stable and, we're all about love and community and care for one another. It's all about, what are you going to do for me? What do you bring to the table? What benefits can I get out of you? Once they run out, I'll throw you away and move on to the next, probably be on to the next pop of the balloon, and some other county. But, it's just a little bit scary how we're just in these times and just like there's no love. There's always about selfishness and just hidden agendas. Also, the thing is, what I'm surprised is about who she looks up to. Given that she is like a rapper and everything, she did say, I believe Beyonce was someone she looks up to rather than, her own parents or whatever. I don't think we've heard anything about that, what her relations are with that. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's just something that I don't think I heard, What is that, If we're all about love and being on this channel and, looking for that, wouldn't you would think that there's something about your family you would look up to, like, hey, I look up to my mom or I look up to my dad and see how their relation's gone and just know what that is like, because I'm here for that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now that was a really good point.
Cooking up. Okay. Okay, she cooking. Hey, we got the people that's choosing to speak. Y'all cooking up so far. Yankee, before I bring you up, let me let Nitro get in there, and I'll bring you back up since hey, the people that choose not to speak, I'm not gonna force you to speak. At the end of the day, it's just a conversation. But the people that do want to come up here and speak, talk your talk. You got 2 minutes to say what you gotta say. And all that. Also, Demetrius Miller, welcome to the chat, man. I'm glad you made it. All right, Nitro, how you feel, gang? How you feel?
Like what was stated earlier by everybody else that has spoken on her segment in the show. She's a fraud. Straight up, that's what she is. Whether she wants to admit that or not, right? You can't go on a show preaching that you're Christian or you're with Jesus Christ, but when a guy in, which we're gonna get onto him later, I believe you guys said, but the guy with the Christ is the Answer shirt, he had asked, what's your music going to be like, because you want your kids to be looking up to it or whatever the case might be. And just for her to say the provocative stuff might be on the table and he's asking things of what the kids are going to look up to, So no, you're not thinking about the future. You're thinking about money. Like, yes, you're on your grind, right? But yo, are you trying to sell your soul for that grind? Right? So that's how I saw her segment with with that guy, the guy that said he's going to pay for everything, and the other gentleman in the second gentleman in the lineup that has the blue suit and shaved head.
Okay. You know what?
Right?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I will play that segment so people can get the context. Thank you for bringing that up, because we definitely jumped past that.
Yeah, so if you're gonna go ahead and play it, then I'm pretty much good with what I said there, because I think people need to look at it with that open mind and actually listen to what's being said, hear what's actually being said in the conversation, what's being used as a reply, and then the excuses for those pops. Like, yes, he gave her reasons, but you listen to them and you listen to the questions being asked, and then her replying, it's like, no, she was just there on that mission that I talked about earlier when you asked me about overall.
Right.
She was there on a mission, and the goal of the show, yes, we call it pop the balloon or find love, but the goal is you at least get on a date, figure out what's going on more, right? But you're not going to choose either way. So if you don't go with the guy with the Christ is the answer, at least go with dude in the other blue suit, right? But it wasn't even about knowing, right? It was just, yup, I pay for everything. Yeah. So this guy's gonna get popped in her head, and the other guy's gonna get popped in her head, because at the end of the day, no matter what anybody else says, she's gonna go with dude that, yo, I got it. I pay for everything. Okay, bet. Hope you don't get sick and you still haven't made it yet, and
right,
boom, boom, boom.
Right, I feel you.
Good luck.
Okay, Nitro. I'm gonna play that segment right now.
About supporting women that has like their own things going on, or do you feel like a woman should play the back and like the man should be just like the, you know?
I believe we support each other, but me being the head, I believe if we're not aligned correctly and depending on what it is that you're into, if I don't support that, then I don't think I wouldn't be a part of it. But it depends on what it is that you have going on. But it's just, if it's just something like, say we both agree, or it's just your own thing, and I'm not against it, like morally and value, then I would support you.
Yeah, so I do music. So my plan is to be a really huge artist. You know what I mean? Like that's the goal. That's the only goal. So what does that look like for you if I become like this big artist?
It doesn't faze me at all, but also, what is the message that you put out into the world? Because our children are going to be looking up to you as their mother, and whatever you're putting into them is going to affect me as well.
Okay.
So yeah,
that's a good answer.
All right, let's hear from over here.
Okay, so she gave that answer, but then she came back and she popped on him later on after she got that answer. So let's see.
All right. So why did you have your balloon unpopped for her?
I was still listening and see what she had to say. I like to hear people out for her. So yeah, that was it.
Got it. But is she someone that's your type?
Yeah, she's not ugly. She's beautiful. Nah, for real, I'm just saying, like, so yeah, but yeah.
I hear you. And now, why do we end up popping his?
I think like when he said like, you know, your children is going to look up to you and all that, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I am in music and sometimes it can get a little tricky, so I need to be in a situation where I feel supported, because sometimes you gotta say certain things, do certain things, you know what I mean? It's not going to be like over the top, but it's like it got to be understood. And he got on a Christ is the answer shirt, which is nothing wrong with that, but you know.
What's wrong with Christ?
No, absolutely nothing at all, but I just feel like that kind of shows probably what your personality is like. And music sometimes could be very provocative, very like vulgar sometimes, and that's just the honest truth.
Yeah, no, I understand. If we're not unequally yoked, that's cool.
Yeah,
I appreciate you.
All right.
Okay. So, like Nitro said, go back and really listen to what they really said back there. There's a couple of key things that I didn't really say in the reaction, because the reaction, there was a lot of stuff going on before, so I was kind of everywhere. But one thing I did pay attention to was the fact that he brung up to a lot of these people who do content, to a lot of these people who do music, a lot of these people who do the entertainment industry, your kids are going to see and reflect off of what you're doing. And so what are you doing? Because it's gonna affect your kids, and it's gonna affect your partner. And that's the thing, that when people follow their dreams and they follow these content dreams, they act like it doesn't, right? Like, look at Cardi B, for example. Cardi B, notorious, like some really horrible music. She's a talented artist, but her horrible as an aspect of like, I wouldn't bring this to a family function, her type of music. But look at even Cardi B herself, when they asked them like, oh, how do you feel about your kids listening to your music? And she flat out told them in the interview, I don't let my kids listen to my music. My kids don't know none of my songs. I don't let them listen. Because her songs, if she won't even show her kids that, you got all these up and coming artists who have nothing, who are starting out doing this, but they're also trying to have relationships and have kids and have that, but listen to their lyrics. And at the end of the day, if you're willing to sell out for that, then you're gonna get exactly what you're gonna get. You're gonna have your kids follow your example. So how do you guys feel about that little interaction? Let's do it. Before I click somebody up, you know, Danny said, who's to say she didn't already make her choice before they even answered? The chemistry seemed stronger with the other guy before she even asked that question. It could be. We can never say for sure if she really meshed well with somebody else or not. So that is a fair point, because at the end of the day, we're just watching a show. All right, Mr. Yankee, go ahead.
Okay. And dude's right. We don't know if there was genuine chemistry from that. But all what we can hear and what we see is what we go by. And the main thing about it is, as far as her music is circular music. Circular music will bring content and stuff like that. I mean, the main thing about it is she wants to sell circular music. And what is circular music nowadays? If it's not country or pop, it's sex, and sex sells. Fortunately, unfortunately, in the same. So, with that being said, and how she presented herself when she walked out on that stage, she was selling sex. If she wasn't conservative, you could barely call that outfit liberal. She was selling sex. And when you sell yourself into that type of field or that type of thing, you're selling yourself short. You're selling yourself out and you're selling yourself short. So she went for the person who, like Blue Suit, went out and said, oh, he gonna be paying money. And the first thing that she came out off the gate when she was like, I ain't doing that, period. I mean, like, you know, buzzwords. I like to call urban dictionary buzzwords.
Right.
And when you hear those type of buzzwords and stuff like that, that just tells you the character that she is portraying. She does not have character. She wants to become wants to be fully into music and have somebody have her support. Whether it be monetary, not to say it's majority is going to be monetary, but the dude in Blue Suit is already popped, but not where we can see it. He's popped in the mind because of the fact of all the money he's going to be spending, he's already lost.
Okay. No, talking your talk, Yankee. Talking your talk. How you feel, Alex?
Yeah, the gentleman in the blue suit had already popped.
No, he's talking about the other one.
Based off of her chest tattoo.
The one that's over. There's two dudes.
Oh, the other one on the other end. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Because it came down to them too. Okay. You know, Danny said, yeah, why change who she is when she is aligned with someone who wants what she does? Let Eddie find someone who aligns with him. If anything, those type of people always end up with people that like them or supports them. It can be true. All right, Gino, go ahead. Talk your talk, man.
She know what she came looking for. She asked the questions in a certain way to eliminate certain people. She wanted somebody to come in there and take care of her and let them support her music career if it pops or not. Like it. She came there with certain intentions, like especially the way she looked. It pissed me off.
So in the video, I said a lot of the things, like the questions, a lot of the questions that she asked the guys on there, I don't feel like they were genuinely giving genuine from the heart answers. It was kind of a lot of I'ma say what gets me in the door type of answers. And there was this part where I said there's a certain word that I felt like was circulating in this segment, but I didn't want to say it on the video because I'm like, I'll let somebody guess. There was a lot of pandering going on. There was a lot of pandering. It was a lot of you know, say what's gonna make me feel comfortable and supported and what's gonna make me feel strong as a woman, but there wasn't a lot of answers that she actually was asking for or seeking for that was going to give you the sign that the men that she was interacting with were really about their manhood, about being a leader, about being all that. Because it was a lot of like, well, how do you feel about a girl pursuing her dream? Are you gonna step behind? And the guy's like, whatever you want to do, I got your back. Don't worry, you can chase your dream, I'm fine. And reality is, if her dream was to be an OnlyFans model and do adult content, are you gonna sit there and just, like, what are we talking about? If her dream's to be a drug dealer, are you just, all these dudes, because after that point, all the dudes were saying, oh, what their standards was and what all this, but in this segment, it was a lot of, I support my girlfriend through everything. Oh, my girl can do whatever she wants, I got it. I'll pay for it. As long as my girl's happy. As long as blah, 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 blah. It's like you already at the happy wife, happy life stage, and you just met the shorty. And the shorty didn't even pick you. So it was a lot of pandering. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. That's why I didn't say it in the video, because I already know when I say certain statements on the videos that are more popular, there's gonna be people that just go up in arms. But at the end of the day, let's call a spade a spade. So yeah, it was a pandering segment for sure. How do you feel, Alex?
I could say, like, I guess most women in her position, they don't, I guess, like, they don't really want for anything. They don't lack. It may seem like they're lacking something because they're quote unquote single, but women like that, they don't need permission from anybody to pursue the stuff that they want to pursue in life. Like, it makes it cool, like easy, like, okay, like I get a dude that really not gonna be on my back about certain things. Like he's a yes man for me in certain areas and aspects of our relationship. But at the end of the day, like that, I mean, that lady, she really don't need nobody. She really doesn't. She's not seeking or trying to gain anything from anybody. Her doing music and how she does her music clearly shows that she's self-sufficient for herself. Because even look at the other Pop the Balloon where it was, who was it? What's her name? Brillante or something like that. Mm-hmm. She had a bag. She does her own thing. She's a businesswoman. She's, you know, that boss status. She doesn't lack or want for anything. So it's like, I think she probably just went on the show just for kicks and giggles and like to like really promo herself a little bit more, because they only briefly talked about her being an artist and stuff like that. I don't think anybody looked her up that first time when she was on the show, but regardless, people are going to do whatever they want to do. And to kind of piggyback off, I was thinking what Puddin was saying, like how people are kind of like selfish. It makes sense, because when you're single, all you have is to worry about yourself. All you have is to care about yourself, your needs, your wants, and your desires. So when you get with a person, and especially if you're single and you don't make room for people to come into your life to do things for you, and you do it for other people as well, like vice versa, you're always going to come into a relationship or in a situation like, what can I gain? It's a business deal. What can I gain? What goods can I exchange to you and that you're going to give back to me in return that's worth my investment? Because otherwise I'm better off being single.
Okay. That's it. Yankee, what do you got to say? How you feel?
I agree with Alex, and to add, I could truly say that she had like what you was talking about on the show, and when they had the commentary agenda. She had a specific agenda that she wanted to find her yes man that was not gonna be the one that's going to be dismissive about anything she does. And obviously it work. Hopefully it works out, but I doubt it. At the same token, though, she wanted yes man, she got it. And getting back on what she's on, this almost like the equivalency of being in the adult entertainment industry, or sex worker, or even in certain fields that are unbecoming. She's doing what she does because in fact that's all she knows, because she is selfish, because the main thing about it, she's worried about herself. She wants to she calls herself being promoted. She's promoting herself, but yet she's trying to be on a dating show, trying to get a yes man instead of finding what the show's really about, which is love. So she's choosing love. She's compromising her love for substance and monetary sources. That's all she's doing. And she could, and everybody knows, if you're in Hollywood or any type of industry where it deals with media, whether it be music, movies, or TV, whatever the case may be, she's going to have to know. 9 out of 10, she's going to find that person. It might not work out, because if she goes into that realm of entertainment, she's going to find a person and they're going to run her to the gauntlet. If you hear the horror stories in California or in the music industry, especially when we know in current events about a certain person who likes having parties and baby oil, there's more than just him that is doing that. And it's been like that since before we was even a zygote. So let's put that into perspective too. So if that's what she wants to get into, be my guest. But I just hope she don't be run right through the coals and run out like a used condom in these venues. She actually lives her dream and do what she gotta do. That's in a perfect world. I hope that works out for her. But the same token, though, reality rules wrong. It is what it is.
Okay.
And it's same. Little girls go through that and they want to go to their dreams, but yet got all this stuff going on that is demonic and possessive and downright sickening. It's insane that women have to go through that just to follow their dreams. That's all I gotta say about that.
Once again, Yankee cooking up, bro. He's unstoppable tonight.
All right, now you're gonna be the last one for this segment.
Yeah, Smiley, better wake up, man. You better wake up, man. Nitro, go ahead, end it off for this little segment so we can move on to the next person.
I do my best, Captain. Alex, I need your help again. Oh, the lady's name that you just brought up to, that you were comparing to. What was her name again? I don't want to butcher her name, but I remember her.
I think I butchered it, but I believe it was Birdiante.
Yeah, I believe she was wearing the red dress on her episode, right? And she had that short curly hair. I remember her so well. Just to borrow that from you, is that the difference that I see between her and our current lady here is that she was standing strong in her energy. I prefer what she had done, because I felt like she was there more genuinely, right? Like, yes, she's strong, independent. She knew what she was looking for. The way she spoke, the way that she addressed everybody, she was very sharp, no BS. When I looked at her, it was just like, yo, what is this lady about? I wanted to know more, but the lineup didn't really give her a proper chance, right? And I think there was a lot less guys too when she had gone up. But it was one of those things where I wanted to know more about her in her segment, and I felt like her, at least if she didn't match, it would have been more genuine, right? Whereas this, like, again, she was there on a mission, and it didn't feel pure in comparing the two situations. Like, yes, they're both strong and doing their own thing, but I feel like one is doing it more justly, right? Just based on what we're seeing, of course, and then this one is doing it not as just more lip service. What can I get from you? What can you help me with? Whereas, really, I really don't want to butcher her name. Holy, I'm bad. Where I felt like she was looking for a companion. She was actually looking for a companion. Genuinely, yeah.
Oh, Jules.
No, I see that.
Jules raised his hand. Go ahead.
Hey guys.
What's up, gang?
I'm gonna use this analogy because I'm a musician myself, and I kind of see where she's coming from. but the analogy I was gonna go off on here is, so you know how musicians, in particular, like keyboard players, drummers, bass players, look for endorsement deals and brand opportunities and sponsorships and all that jazz.
Yeah.
I feel like she was giving that more so. I'm here to find love. No, I'm just here for like
sponsor,
an opportunity. Yeah, almost extortion, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that before we move on to our next segment.
Okay, no, that's fine. Thank you. Hey, everybody, remember that these are just exposure is another good word. These are just opinions. These are not people putting facts out here. We're just everybody sharing how they feel about things, so it's not to be taken too deep. At the end of the day, if people get offended, that is on them. But just you're offended at somebody's opinion. Everybody said she needs old boy with the suitcase, the original provider. Not my boy Humblehood. Leave my boy Humblehood alone. Danny, are you asking if he's looking for the word as secular, or are you asking for a definition of the word secular? I'm not sure, but you can go ahead and type that, and then we'll move on to the next segment. Let's do it. So now we got the second girl. Now the second girl, I feel like she got a bad draw, because this one, y'all going the Christ is King t-shirt, the Jesus Christ t-shirt, he hit my fraud watch on this one, because it didn't help him towards the last bit. It made it even worse. So let's check out this segment, y'all.
Hello, welcome in. What's your name?
I'm Tamara.
Tamara, how old are you?
I'm 25.
25, okay. And what do you do?
I'm an online fitness coach for women, and I'm also a fitness content creator, and I'm in the Air Force.
Oh, all right. Thank you for your service. Now, what are some things you like to do for fun?
I like to work out, anything like active, so like hiking or playing sports.
Okay.
I like to play video games sometimes.
Ooh.
And read, or what else? Oh, roller skating.
Okay. Now, what are some things you look for in a man?
Someone who's like kind, gentle, loyal. Someone who's active.
Mm-hmm.
At least they don't have to be like a gym rat like me, but active.
Okay.
Someone who likes basketball, because I like basketball.
All right. Now, what are some deal breakers?
No smoking. I don't really like smoking as far as like vaping.
Mm-hmm.
No kids.
Okay.
I think that's about it.
All right, cool. So no pop balloons. So I am going to go ahead and actually switch it on over to you. So let me hand you.
Okay. So that's how her introduction worked. A lot of people actually like the second girl. So how do you guys feel about contestant number 2? And if there's a certain point in contestant number 2's turn that y'all would like to speak about, now is your chance to bring it up. Contestant number 2. Young Smiley has finally awoken. Was she whooping? Let's find out.
Hello.
How you doing, Young Smiley?
What's up, man? How y'all doing? Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
He was definitely not over whooping for sure, because was actually over whooping, because he was definitely not jacking with her. Like, he was only there for a lustful segment. Like, the light-skinned girl that's coming up next, he was with her mostly. And that's definitely over whooping for sure. Crazy work. He wasted her time.
Okay.
That's all I got to say.
Hey, shout out to Smiley. Don't forget to check out his content, man. Don't forget to plug your stuff, Smiley. Yankee, let's do it. How you feel about
I'm gonna go with number 2. Contestant number 2 was beautiful. She had a perfect. The majority of the women that was on there, she's one of the few that actually came to play, like really look for love. And the tattoo, I know about the Medusa tattoo. I know you're about to go about the Medusa tattoo, and I know some of the references about said tattoo is Greek mythology and stuff like that. It's her style. I don't judge on tattoos. I only got 2. But to be fair, she came to play, and I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna reserve my other. It's gonna be a 2-part of my answer. The first part, yeah, I think she would have been better off with blue number 2. That's on the left rather than that's the answer, because I think they had more of a vibe, more of a connection if they would have actually said a couple of things and reworded the things that they were saying equally. They would have been a perfect match, in my honest opinion.
Okay.
But I'm gonna say my second part of the answer until you get to Christ the answer board. I'm gonna let it go.
Okay. Got you. Jules, you up?
Hey, so I know we kind of are. Wait, my mic isn't cooked, is it?
No, you're fine.
No, you're good.
I bet. I know we were gonna kind of tackle this once we get to his segment, but can I already bring it up because I feel a rant in my spirit right about now?
Not in your spirit. Let's hear Lil Puddin', and then if nobody else has anything to say about her initial thing, then yeah, we'll let you take it over there, okay?
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So go ahead and just mute your mic. I'm not gonna drag you down. Lil Puddin', how'd you feel about contestant number 2, my friend?
For contestant number 2, two. Sorry, I mixed up my words. Yeah, I thought she was pretty cool, calm, cool, collected, just a nice, genuine person, you know? I just feel like, again, I would love to see her back on the show, you know, get another opportunity again to get some matches, but I just feel like she just didn't have enough time to shine, you know, show off more. I think it was overlooked that she didn't get a match at all. I don't know what it was, if it's beauty standard wise or something that she's not the baddest or whatever, but I just think that this is something that, you know, people might enjoy and have a different perspective on life, you know? Not just going on craziness. But yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. Let's move on to the ignorance, right? So y'all want to jump straight to there? I guess there's nothing else everybody want to talk about because everybody ready to go off on him. So we're gonna bring it up to the segment that caused the problem.
I did like her though. I do hope they bring her back.
Oh, go ahead, talk your talk, Alex.
No, I was just saying I do hope that they bring her back because yeah, she was underutilized in this episode.
Okay, let's do it, y'all.
So who was God? I just felt like she didn't really have an answer, and faith is very important to me, so that's pretty much it.
Okay.
But she's beautiful. Yeah.
All right, got it. Okay. So, actually, let me bring you up here instead of us walking back and forth. I'll have you scoot that way, and I'll have you stand on this side of me. Any final questions between the two of you to determine if this is a match?
So, like, what is something that you believe your role is as a wife? Do you believe in getting married?
Yes, I do want to get married. I'm dating to marry.
All right, and then what is it that you believe in as far as like how's your walk with Jesus? That's what I'd like to know.
I'm still working on it. I just now started getting closer to him again because I did like fall off a little bit when I joined the military. But I've been doing Bible study with my friends like once a week. I go to church. I watch sermons on YouTube. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Not like that. It's nothing against you personally. I just feel like where I am at in my walk with Jesus, I just feel like it has something in the call that's on my life that I need something more, like just more in depth, a stronger relationship. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
thank you.
We just heard him say that, right? But there was a major problem. There was a major problem with him making this statement because he said that to her, and that was the grounds on why she got rejected, right? But then, as everybody pointed out, when this young lady came up here, she barely knew anything. of God, and he was perfectly fine with teaching her the gospel.
Like, how would that look like for you? Would you want to move, or would you rather have the man move to you, or how did that work out?
Where are you first before she answers that?
Oh, I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, okay.
I'm based out of Houston, but
it would just depend on like the relationship and how far it progresses. I do have a business out here, so that's something I would have to.
Let me make sure I get the segment.
Where have you been? Where have you traveled?
I'm sorry, y'all. I want to make sure I get the exact thing that we called him a fraud for.
Okay.
Been taught so far, but I didn't grow up in the church. So
okay.
Like how would that look like for you? Would you?
Where are you first before she?
Depend here, but
okay.
So now remember, he gave that speech about the young lady who said that she was actively in the church, she does Bible studies, and she is on her walk with Christ, and she's learning more about Christ. So now she's actively seeking God, and he said, I want somebody who is more on my level, and you're not there yet, right? But here comes somebody who.
You ask another question? Oh, what is it that you believe in, as far as like what do you believe in, religious wise?
As in religion? That's a deep question. I mean, I didn't really grow up in the church, but I do believe in God. So.
And God, when you say that, who can you give me a name for that? Like, who is it that you believe in as God? Who do you recognize as God? Allah, Buddha, Jesus.
Jesus. Like, that's just what I've been taught so far, but I didn't grow up in the church, so I haven't really explored other religions to know.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So he never popped on that girl. He was actually actually interested in pursuing her. She ironically ended up popping on him, right? So we're gonna go to the pop.
Here.
Okay. Oh wow, that one really exploded. Okay, so why'd you have your balloon unpopped for her?
She's very attractive, and also I want to hear what she had to say, see how everything worked out, or what she had to say.
Okay. Why do you end up popping his?
I could see religion is very big for you. Like, it's on your shirt, your chain, and stuff like that. I didn't grow up like that, so I don't think that would be a good match, because I don't really.
I wouldn't say religion, because honestly, I mean, and because you say it in government, I don't mind teaching, but religion, traditional stuff, that really is what separates people from having a relationship with God or Jesus. It's more about relationship, and that's what he wants. But I mean, that's something like you haven't been taught, but I'm not going to penalize you for it, neither is he.
I wasn't going to penalize you for it, but you popped on the other girl because she said she's on her walk with it. But then you just said, I have no problem teaching it. So reality was that girl's faith was not the problem on why he popped her. Now we can say he just wasn't interested in her. That's fair. But don't use God as a scapegoat and say, oh, I popped on you because I need a girl that's going to be equally yoked. But then you find a girl who has no yoke at all. Right? In a theory, we don't know for sure. But from what we've seen on the show, the yoke is not even there, but you're willing to teach now. Now, was it the God thing that was the real deciding factor? Or were you just going off of attractiveness? Because if it is attractiveness, that's perfectly fine. But don't throw God in it. And then now everybody's looking at it. You just made yourself a hypocrite. All right, let's see. Let's talk about it. Y'all been wanting to go on him? Jules, go ahead, man. You can unmute. Go ahead.
Thank you, because you took the words right out of my mouth. Hypocrite. That's exactly what I thought of it. After I had to rewatch it, make sure I knew what I was talking about. But like I said, you took the words right out of my mouth. It was given hypocritical. Definitely given hypocritical. Because my thing is, how's the best way I can say this? How are you gonna come at someone that's not on the same direction on their walk with Christ as you are. Like, I get it. We're all works in progress. Let's not get it twisted. As someone who's grew up in church his whole entire life, I get it. I 100% get it. But at the same time, though, why would you be like, hey, I want someone that's equally yoked and not match with them? But on the other side of it, you match with someone that's not even yoked, period.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it just doesn't make sense. But I don't know his walk. I don't know these people. I can only base my opinion off what I see. So, yeah, that's really about it.
Okay. All right. Yankee, let's do it.
The Julius, yeah. How can you be equally yoked with somebody who doesn't even have a yoke in their egg? Oh yeah, he can be yoked, but the whole thing about it is, let's be honest, he was being selective. He was being selective because, let's be honest, the girls in the military. Shout out to my brother and sister and that still serve. It was better. Let's put that in perspective. Women's in the military, everything's coming at her on all sides, and she not to mention she's a Black American woman, mind you, and she still has time to seek her walk with God. That's commendable. If I was on the show, I would have picked her off GP, just off that. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna say like this: he was selective. He wasn't really thinking about her and he exploited himself. To be honest with you, he exploited himself. The reason why I say he exploited himself was because of that selection of him not choosing her. He wants to get with the girl that's almost like a trophy wife. He wants us to feel as though that he can cultivate her, and while he's the one that's leading, she's the one that's going to be left behind because in fact all she's doing is going to listen to what in his mind. This is what I'm going in his thought process. Inadvertent. This is hyperbole. His thought process thinks that he can cultivate her and try to move her and also be his. How should I put this? Don't take this the wrong way, and I'm going to say something very, very provocative. Wife, mother, whore.
Okay.
His freak in the sheets, his wife in public, and his mother to his children. That's all he wants, and that's almost carnality. But in the same token, though, that's what he wants. But he's covering it as a hypocrite, like what everybody's saying. He was a hypocrite because that's what he was covering himself with Christ. So he used Christ as a scapegoat to knock off her. When he could have just been forthright and honest and said, you're not attracted to me. That's all you have to say. It all would have been very easy to say, I'm not attracted to you. Why? And then would have came up with the question, why am I not attracted to him? Like, it's not you. It's just that I don't see ourselves together or something in a certain point of view. He could have said it like that. He would have got a lot more flowers for that. But because of what he did, how he portrayed himself, I can't really take him seriously with the Christianity shirt. Plus, it look like a bootleg Dollar General Genuine. So, really can't take
Dollar General Genuine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Yankee. Okay.
So,
thank you for sharing that. We gonna move on. 2 minutes. Hey, Yankee, you are on fire tonight. I just want you to know that, man. You're on fire tonight.
Thank you.
He came to cook, y'all. He came to cook. Y'all better stop playing with that boy, Yankee. Let's read the chat real quick. We have Coco Almond Joy. He should have stated that he was not physically attracted to the first lady as he was to the thicker one. Okay, that's what he should have said. Don't throw God in it as the excuse. God is not your scapegoat because you want something that you think is better. Because you sat there and did this whole thing about how you want a woman of God. Woman of God came. I don't want that. Then you got the one that's like, well, I don't really know nothing about that God stuff. Oh, I can work with you. Don't worry. We can do it together. And then guess what? The one that's not pursuing God ended up popping on you. You popped on the one that's pursuing God and then got popped on by the one that's not pursuing God. Don't throw God in that mix. Light-skinned stallions are his preferred students. True. He preferred light-skinned stallions. Honestly, I think the military part played a part in it. It could be, but the problem is we can only go off of what he stated it was, and unfortunately he threw God in that mix. I'm very happy y'all brought this up. He definitely needs to take some time and reflect on the walk he is practically on. He's more into looks 100%, and he said it that the lady is very attractive. Right. He chose looks over the yoke, right? Let's do it. Kat, go ahead. I'm bringing you up, gangster.
I was waiting for this. Okay. My main thing, because I don't want to repeat what other people said. My main thing about this man, because at first I liked him. I'm like, okay, he's grooving. I like the shirt. Okay, he's going to be a good dude. But then as soon as he frauded, I was like, nah, I don't like you no more. Because I don't like it when people use God as a shield for their own faults and lack of accountability. Because I can't do that. Because when he was lusting for a girl one, and he didn't care about teaching her because of that lust. And so he was like, oh yeah, she's going to be great. Like, he had it in his mind, he wants a woman of God. But then when the woman of God doesn't come up, he's like, well, the lust is going to overpower that. So he's like, okay, I'll work with her. I'll figure it out. I'll make her what I got. Oh, I'll change her. I'll do this. I'll do that. He's giving himself all the reasons why he can be with this woman of lust and promiscuity over the woman too, who was the woman of God, knew God, was on her journey, and actually said she was coming back to it. And you guys are like, they both said they were on their journey. So like they could have been, again, growing together in faith, and that would have been a perfect match. But the fact that his lust was what he cared about more, even though she was a beautiful girl, that's why I didn't even see the problem. I was like, I could see it maybe if they weren't like equally as like attractive in my eyes, but they were like both on like the same levels of attractiveness. She was like short, thick, and she was tall, thick. That was, same thing, same archetype, okay? And they both had like pretty faces. So like, he just irked me the rest of the video because I'm like, I'm not over that. I'm like, you just straight up popped on this girl over something that you were fine with, who didn't even know God or didn't even like understand who Jesus was or know anything about it. But then when she was, I was in the military, I'm getting back to it, and I do Bible study, I go to church and do all the things that the green flags in your mind turn to red flags. He's like, I really want that woman because she was beautiful. I mean, she was hot, bro. Like, I wanted to get her. So I'm just like, he was just a fraud. Like, after he did that, he was just a fraud. Like, I didn't like him.
Okay, Kat, that was a little tame. I expected a little bit more, but it's all good. I'm satisfied with what we got.
Look, I can't break out all the fire. I got fire later in the video. Okay,
let's do it. Somebody in the chat said, wasn't there a verse you said, KiteZz, that beauty or the height can be deceitful? Yes, the Bible says that the heart is deceitful. The heart is deceitful. But when it talks about beauty, right? Here it is. It is Proverbs 31:30. It says, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Right? So, because Proverbs 31 is basically breaking down like the model wife, right? So, Pastor KiteZz, please no, I am not qualified. But basically it's when a lot of these people are saying like, oh, marriage is about all the attractiveness. Attraction does play a part, but you should not be choosing people just because they look good to your eye, right? Do not fall for people because they look good or they have a shape that you desire. Don't let your lust and desire overpower the fact that you're trying to choose a partner. You're choosing someone for your walk with God, right? At the end of the day, God, one, is not a respecter of persons. He doesn't care if you're man, woman, snail, dog, cat. It doesn't matter. And two, the beauty, going off of just your physical eye and that being the sole reason why you choose people, it's a flawed thing, because if you go blind, what are you seeing? If you become lame, what are you touching? What are you grabbing on? What are you experiencing? If you go deaf, what beautiful voice are you hearing? Right? but it's that spirit, it's the character, it's the personality, it's the way that they spiritually carry themselves. That is what you need to look for in your quality of a man, in your quality of a woman. The looks can be a nice additive, but the look is only surface. It's like, have you ever walked into a store and you saw a cake and it looked like the most amazing display cake you've ever like even seen? But then when you walk to the back of the display, the cake is hollowed out because it's fake. It's a display cake. Y'all are going for display cake, and then y'all wondering why y'all starving to death with y'all relationships with God, with y'all relationships with that partner. Y'all are going for something that's hollowed out. Get the thing. It don't matter if she's a 6. If she's a 6 but a 10 with God, that 10 should outweigh. Don't let your pursuit of a 10 with your eyes outweigh the entire thing that's gonna matter. Because a lot of y'all got 10 out of 10 husbands that look like David Hasselhoff in the 90s, but he don't want to work. He just hang out with the homies. He don't get nothing done. He don't know God. He can't lead you nowhere. And then a lot of y'all go for these 2005 Kim Kardashians, right? And then when you ask her, oh, what are you gonna do to help the house sustain? I'm the table. That's all I bring myself. Well, guess what? We can't eat you all day. We finna starve. Jack in the Box ain't gonna be open every single time. McDonald's over here giving people salmonella poisoning. What are we talking about? Do you have any? Allegedly. Don't come for me.
We don't need
McDonald's.
no cease and desist.
Allegedly. Don't touch me. I'm good. I'm just a human. I'm in my right mind. I'm not mentally unstable. I'm perfectly healthy. I'm happy with my life. Okay, but you feel me? But I'm done with my little rant because I be talking too much. So let's get everybody else up here. Nitro, go ahead, gang.
I was really hoping you brought me up next right after you just said what you had just literally said, word for word, bar for bar. So, yes. So, originally watching KiteZz the Answer dude talking about, all the things, and then we call him fraud. I'm actually going to go on this other side. This is just what we're seeing physically. But what if everybody's watching a man being tested in real time? What if whatever he has been dealing with before we see him here, he is now being tested? What do human beings fear the most, right? It's our greatest strength, but it's something that we fear the most. It's what? Change, right? That crossing through that door, right?
Right.
So maybe he was spouting excuses to the first lady that he almost he basically matched with, technically, because all the man had to do was say yes, pretty much, as it seemed, right? But what if we were watching a guy being tested in real time, right? And so when I say that, I don't look at it as too much of a fraud anymore, like away from the physical style of things, right? But on that other plane, like what if the man's being tested? Now how do we look at that, right? And maybe he's realizing it late, so he's trying to make it up for when he's seeing this late. Of course, looks play a part, all of that visual, but I'm just saying, like, what if he was being tested in real time?
Okay.
What do we then think about that?
So the way you can look at it now, because that is a great point. What if that was his test, right? The beautiful way you can look at it, it comes with the expression, I hate the sin, I love the sinner, right? I hate the person who does evil, but I love the person. I hate the evil that a person does, but I love the person who does evil, right? So it's a concept of, Jesus taught us that we were to love our neighbors, right? And we were not to condemn our neighbors, right? But we were supposed to call out, judge, condemn the sins of our neighbors. So if your neighbor was cheating, you condemn him for cheating. You don't condemn him as a person. If you judge the cheating, you don't judge him as a person. You call it out. You say, hey, stop doing that. You don't say, hey, you finna go to hell, because that's condemnation. We don't condemn, right? But as believers, it's up to us to call out and point it out, because sometimes when we're in sin, you don't realize you're sinning. right? Now, in the aspect of him, maybe this could have been God testing him, right? A lot of things that God does in the Bible, he tells him when it comes down to judging or confrontations or situations, he always tells in the Bible it states to always have a witness of 2 or 3 people. Always have a witness, because the witnesses can give an account of what happened there, right? So if this was his moment to be judged, and him praying at night saying, I want a woman of God, I want a woman equally yoked, I'm gonna go on this show to find God, send me that woman, and he sent you the generic lust, he sent you a woman who is on her journey getting closer, who hungers for God, he sent you the woman at the last end who also had a hunger for God, then he sent you another lust segment, etc., etc., etc. That could have been a test. I'm gonna give you that second girl. Hey, you want a woman of God? Oh, you chose it. All right, it's okay, my son. I'm gonna give you another shot. I'm gonna throw some more distractions at you. But the heart is deceitful, and you watch the heart work in real time. A lot of people, he completely wasn't worried about that faith situation when it came to this girl, right? But it was relevant in the second girl, and also in the last girl, it was relevant. He didn't choose her, even though she was a God-fearing woman. So we are not going to say we dislike or we condemn or we hate or whatever. Us even calling him a fraud is not calling him a fraud as a person. We're calling his intentions fraudulent, right? Because the way he operated was fraudulent. We don't know him, but we know what he just did. We know what we witnessed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, all of that of what you just said is what I was agreeing with, right? That's why I was like, yo, what if we are literally watching that? We don't know what's going on inside his head, but we could have been watching that in real time. So that's why I said, physically, like, yes, he was acting fraudulent, but spiritually, mentally, what's really going on for him, right?
Right.
And he's gonna have to deal with that after the show within himself, right? That's not for us, right? What's for him is for him to go through. That's not for us to go through, because whatever is for him, right?
Right. Okay.
And that's all I wanted to say there.
Shout out to Nitro. Goddess, come up here. You better have something nice to say. Yep, you front and center.
Hi, guys.
Now. Hello.
I always have nice things to say. So I'm glad you put the video back up, because I forgot what he had said to the second, or not the second contestant, but the one that's right here on screen. So I felt like, I mean, I agree with what you guys were saying. To me, it felt as if he was putting faith as something to be measured, or like ranking, because I think he said she's not on like the same kind of level he was on. And it was really odd that he said that, because everyone has their own individual journey within their faith, and it seems like she was doing a lot of good actions, like going to church, she said, going to Bible study, things like that. And so I did feel like he was just being dishonest, because to me it felt as if they were kind of on a similar path as far as building a deeper relationship with God. And I feel like he was just very dismissive and ignoring her journey and making it seem like his level of faith was much stronger than hers, or it was like better than hers. So I feel there's a sense of superiority in that part, because the girl right here with the flower dress, it didn't seem as if she was doing those certain actions, like going to church and Bible study and things of that nature. And to me, I'm like, okay, if you feel like this person is not on that same journey, then why didn't you mention the same thing you said to the girl with the flower dress? Like, I can help you, I can support you, because it seemed like he was just judging her a lot for me, it seemed like no reason. And then like you guys said with this girl, it was like, oh yeah, you can go with me, this and that, it's no problem. But it's like, well, why didn't you have that same energy with the other girl? Because you know, you're attracted to her. You should have just said that instead of making it feel like her level of faith was not important, and it was just very dismissive. But ultimately, he says on the shirt, Christ is the answer, but his delusion was not. So that's where I'm gonna leave it at.
Okay, goddess. Okay, she cooking up. Let's read the chat real quick. Revelation Ruth said it's a bigger issue of Christian men and women not being attracted to each other. Right, that is a big issue. I agree with the goddess state with what the goddess stated. I thought the same thing. Okay, Bear Claw, welcome. It's always a pleasure. L Dragon, I'm gonna drag you up next since you haven't got a chance to speak yet, and then Smiley, I'll get you after.
Hey, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey, happy Saturday, y'all. How y'all doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for I missed the last Flock Talk, but thanks for letting me in. Yeah, with this kind of situation here, I got two things. I agree with Nitro and the goddess and some other points I heard. Yeah, this guy right here, I feel like as humans, right, we go off the flesh. We tend to go off the flesh first, and you make exceptions for what you like. Like, you know, even if we take the spiritual, if we take the religious part out of it, like I don't like short guys, but if Omarion comes in, you know, maybe, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like women that look like this, but if a woman comes in that I'm attracted to that is short or is a little bit tall, like if it's Megan Thee Stallion, I might make an exception. You know what I mean? Like, from a human standpoint, from a flesh standpoint, we can do that. Now, if you're talking about like finding a woman that you're aligned with, like religiously and things of that nature, yeah, I think the brother, you know, dropped the ball because there was bias that we saw. We saw bias there, and kind of what Nitro said. I hope he learns from something like this, right? Because nobody's perfect, but there is such a thing as religious pride too, and I feel like he had a little bit of religious pride when he was talking to the other lady, saying, I don't really want to teach somebody and all that, but then 10 minutes later, oh, you know, that ain't a problem. You know, I can work with someone like you. Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like there's religious pride that he needs to work through. Now, what I will say is that, you know, when I had met my wife, you know, when we were dating, of course, you know, she was a little bit hesitant because she was like, oh, I can't marry a man that ain't saved. I was on my journey to knowing Christ, right? I was on my journey. She was kind of already established. But the thing was, she liked me, and she, you know, she gave me room to grow. She invited me to church. You know, we grew in our faith together. That's a situation where something like that can obviously work out because obviously we're still married today. Obviously, we grew through our love for Christ together. Right. But the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that. But he should have set that precedent first with the other lady before he set that to the next one. And yeah, that's really just my take there.
Okay. That's a good take, man. That's a good take.
I like that.
Let's go to the chat. You know, Danny said, attraction must be there, godly or not. There has to be some initial attraction. That's just the ticket to the dance. Beauty fades. There must be more than just that at the end of the day. I agree, but in this situation, I feel like it doesn't apply because the problem with using initial attraction on this certain case, because I agree with your point, but to an extent, the problem with this was he made it to the very end with her. He had ample time for her. If she wasn't his type, he would not have held his balloon up until that final point. Now, I don't believe he wasn't initially attracted to her because at that point, if I think somebody is ugly and I don't want to hear about it and I don't feel nothing or all that, I'm not going to sit there and keep the idea of us being partners and being all that till the very end, to the last second, to the last question. You get what I'm saying? There's a level of hearing me out, and then there's an actual attraction that he had. Now, I don't know if the God thing suddenly snapped and he was like, oh wait, I can't do that. We unequally yoked. But then as soon as she walked out, his brain went unga bunga and he was like, hey, I like stallions and he just forgot it. But I get what you're saying. All right, L Dragon, it's your first time speaking. Welcome.
All right, hey guys, can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, we can.
All right, so I really just wanted to say that I was more sympathized to what the second girl was going through, because when I was young, I used to go to church with my grandma, and she and me would read the Bible, but until she passed away a few years ago, unfortunately, due to something, I kind of fell off on my journey for the past few years. And it wasn't until recently where I decided to get back on. It was like during COVID, because during that time I felt like I was a little depressed and I really need someone to talk to and depend on. So that's why I kind of been trying to restart on my journey. And because of that, I feel like if I was him personally, I would have given her a little bit of grace, because I understand what she's going through in the sense of wanting to grow on your journey and wanting to take the steps to do it. Because it's one thing to say you want to do, and it's another thing to actually take the steps to do it. And I feel like we can't really judge someone's journey because we don't know exactly what their destination or finish sign is going to be. But as long as we're putting in the work to actually do it, then it should be at least considered in a sense.
Right.
Miss Price put into the chat, my grandmother passed away today. I'm sorry. What I will say is, to those who have lost a loved one, please take the time to properly grieve. Do not hold it in. Do not sit there and try to strongman it. Don't try to sit there and pretend that it's not happening. Grieving is all a part of God's healing process. It's perfectly normal to grieve. It's perfectly normal to cry. It's perfectly normal to feel vulnerable. That is the moment where you have the closest connection to God, to have that conversation, because all he wants is your attention. We have a jealous God, but we also have a God that is very satisfied with even bare minimum. A lot of people think that God demands you to give 3 hours of your day, but it's those moments where you're genuinely giving God your time, whether it be 2 minutes or 2 hours or 2 days. That's what matters. So, Miss Price, please take the time to grieve properly. You have my condolences.
I completely agree.
Yep, L Dragon, go ahead if you want to talk. I
completely agree. No, I was just saying I completely agree with what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Dragon.
I'm sorry to hear that person who lost their grandmother. I know what it feels like, and I sincerely pray for you.
Hey, that's what the flock is about. That's right there. L Dragon, thank you. I hope you speak some more today, okay?
I will.
All right. That's the flock right there. Hey, man, grow together as a community. Look out for your brother, because the Bible says, who is my mother and who is my brother, right? So we're all family in Christ connected. Don't harbor no hatred for heart. Actually, don't hate nobody. I had to teach my little brother this today in the car. As believers, we don't hate anyone. Okay? The only thing we hate is the devil. We don't hate anyone. Okay? Because at the end of the day, if you're saying I hate my brother or I hate this person, you have already killed them. You've already committed murder in your heart. You get what I'm saying? So don't hate anybody. Smiley, what's up, gang? How you doing?
Y'all all have great points. Ill Dragon, phenomenal. Most definitely, just like think with y'all big head and not y'all small head.
Right.
Because if you not, y'all definitely over whooping. For real. Because I feel like he was definitely, I feel like, not intentionally, people that be hypocritical against God be accidentally praising like Satan, you know?
Okay.
Not knowingly, but like, it's like you turning down a Christian woman for a worldly woman, you know?
Right.
And that's not really what the Bible says that you need to do. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just feel like he's misguided and he's influenced by the worldly environment around him. and he kind of mixing that in with his faith, and you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't mix worldly ideologies with Christian faith, because you're gonna be diluted all over the place. So think with your big head and not your small head. He was definitely overwhooping.
Okay. Shout out to Young Smiley, man. Young Smiley, the OG. Lil Puddin', talk your talk.
Hey, so I'm gonna point this out. I know that Dej Love said something in the Flock Talk chat, but she brought up a point that say, what if this gentleman was just using this shirt? The Christ is the answer as bait. Because there are certain times when women and or men say that, hey, I'm looking for a God-fearing man. I'm looking for this, that, and person. He loves the Lord, she loves the Lord, and things like that. Sometimes there's a way on how we display our feelings in regards to Christ. Sometimes you're either loud or you're soft-spoken about it, or it's how you acknowledge him as that. And gosh, I don't know the words to say, but I feel like when he's out there with that shirt, I feel like he's standing out in the room thinking that's what the women want, that, oh, this is the answer, this is what ladies are looking for. I'm a God-fearing man, but however, how I'm displaying it myself, it's like, pick me, I'm the answer, but I don't choose that of the woman who has her ways of following it in a different way. Like the second lady, she was a little bit into the church, she was praying every day, things like that, and she's overlooked. She's not loud or acknowledged because of how her faith is not wearing on her sleeve or anything like that. It's not as used of a propaganda you would see on markets or in stores. But with the other woman that was rejecting him, it's based on initial attraction. She's fit all the personal boxes for him, like lustfully, but it's not something you would see working out if you're in the faith as much.
Okay.
So it's something very skeptical to point out.
Okay. No, that was a good take. Actually, that's an interesting. That's food for thought. Okay. Thank you, Puddin'. All right, let's go to the chat real quick. They said, Deverick Coleman said, "Yo, welcome to the chat, Deverick. Life with Rhea. How you doing? Hi. SK, in my opinion, he weeded himself out. She was stern and confident about her stance on her journey. He put a measure on her journey is crazy. God tells us to be humble and think of others better than us. Very true. He seems to be using that shirt to come off as a good guy. I want to pray that that wasn't his intention, right? I'm not going to say he did or he didn't. I'm going to pray that he didn't have that intention. But at the end of the day, only God know the truth. Let every man be a liar." Revelation Ruth said, yes, he was definitely advertising, probably in hopes of increasing DMs from all types of Christian women. Right? Again, we're going to say hypothetically, I'm going to pray that's not what he was doing. But if that is what he's doing, I hope he learns from this lesson and doesn't do it again. But
I don't think that's what he was doing.
Go ahead, talk your talk, Alex.
I don't think that's what he was doing. The only thing that I did not like about this segment was that it was kind of redundant for the way he conducted himself. But then going back to the prior conversation with Nitro, him asking, like, do you think this was a test for him? And how you responded, like, this probably was a test for him, and you're seeing how we operate as people in real time. I do believe that he should have given the second girl a little bit of grace, because God gives us grace even when we don't deserve it. And this segment rubbed me the wrong way, because I know what it feels like to like be in your faith and be out of your faith, and then try to like rekindle your relationship and your bond with God. And even using our marriage for an example, like when we got together, technically I was worldly and you were, they would call straight edge, but you were in your faith, you're in your religion and stuff like that. So I always believed in God, but I did not practice my faith as heavily as I should have during that time. And because of my ignorance and the lack of knowledge that I had about God, I didn't understand certain things. So I always assumed being saved meant you save yourself for marriage, you save your virginity, and like that's it, and you're saved. So if you, and it's just, I didn't like how he kind of like said, well, I don't have time to teach people, which I understand to some extent, because even though he is a Christian and he's a man, it's risky to backtrack. It can be very risky to backtrack depending on the person and what they're actively doing in their life, in their lifestyle, especially if you're trying to get away from that stuff or stay away from it, because temptations are real. That stuff is real. Spiritual ties and tethering is real. So I understand in that aspect, but I feel like that could have been his opportunity not to settle with her, to date her because she is somebody that's trying to come back to her faith. That could have been a connection he could have had with her, like brother and sister of Christ, and be like, okay, well, I understand you're on your journey and I'm not going to knock you for that, but I'm looking for a woman that's kind of like, been in her faith a little bit, a while, this and the third. Like, there's still a lot of things you're going to get to know about yourself and God. And I don't want to put pressure on you or make you feel like you have to be where I'm at in faith in order to feel like you're worthy enough to even date me type stuff. Because, and it comes off like intimidating. A lot of people will get discouraged and not want to date somebody that's a Christian because they're going to assume, well, if I don't speak in tongues, or if I don't know the Bible like the back of my hand, or I don't know how to pray properly, or I don't go to church every day, that I'm not worthy enough to be with somebody that is fully renowned in their faith and learn. And the fact that, like, men, you guys are set here to lead, be the leaders. You'd be surprised what a man can do with the word. He could have told her something in that moment to give her some type of encouragement, like, hey, I'm rejecting you today, but there's somebody out there that's gonna do this walk with you. Not all of us are gonna come fully correct or like straight narrow path and know the answers to everything. And even people that are in their word, they don't know all the answers and they don't know everything. So that's the only thing that I didn't like about this segment. You can push people away from God and discourage them from wanting to learn more the way that you reject people.
Okay. Beautiful. Miss Price said, I agree with Alex. I don't think that was his intentions either. GC said, I appreciate this fellowship. Devrick said, amen. Goddess did ask the question, but my thing is, don't they usually say come as you are? So if she's coming how she is, regardless if she's starting over or in her journey, then why is that a problem? At least she's trying. So it's not necessarily a problem, right? The Bible does say come as you are, right? If you're a sinner, come to the church, come as you are, because it's the job of the church to our sole objective as believers is to save, right? It's to save. At the end of the day, my life, it doesn't matter if this YouTube channel blows up to 1 million subscribers and I make millions of dollars. If I don't spread the gospel and at least save one soul, my entire objective on this planet in my entire life was wasted. I didn't do anything, right? It goes back to the James Gourmet Pie thing, right? Let's bring it up. Let's talk about it. Now's the time. The James Gourmet Pie situation where he said, if you don't use your talents, you go to hell, right? Which was not, that was not the scripture at all.
Accurate.
That was not the scripture, right? The Bible, Jesus gives that analogy and he refers to talents as the gospel, right? And God has said, I meant the problem in the guy's eyes because he presented as it was an issue matching him, right? He was, yeah, I understand. The talents refers to the amount of gospel. So when they said that a person had 10, the man gave his servant 10 talents, 5 talents, and then he gave one servant 1 talent. The talent was the knowledge and how much spiritual guidance or knowledge of the word that he had, right? Even with a small amount of the gospel, as long as you know the truth, you can plant that seed and it can spread. So the man that had 10 talents went out and he came back with what? 10. He came back with 20. The man who had 5 left with that 5. He came back with what? He came back with 10. The man who had 1, what did he do with that talent? He took it, he buried it in the ground, and then waited for the moment where his master returned and gave him that same talent back and say, look, my master, I protected it from you. And what did he get called? He got called a wicked servant. A lot of y'all have received the gospel, y'all have received the word, y'all have received the understanding of God, and you guys do not plant and show that talent. You guys hide it. Some of you guys are in spaces where somebody talks crazy about God and y'all just, it's fine. Or y'all get an opportunity to have a fellowship with somebody, but because they don't look how you want them to look or talk how you want them to talk, you don't want to share the gospel. A lot of y'all will put down and y'all see a friend listening to something that is obviously against God, and then they'll say in the sentence of, oh, I still love God though, but yeah, I'm gonna smoke my op, blah, 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 blah. It's like, but you don't say nothing. You're not investing your talents. That's wicked. You feel me? So he, like Alex said, he could have,
by association.
Right. He could have used that opportunity for sure to spread that gospel with her. Even, hey, I may not be your husband, but as your brother in your walk, even though our yokes are not flowing as equal, I'm still here with you as a brother. But he didn't do that. And instead, to the worldly one that came and said, I don't really have no interest in that, and I still want to give you this gospel, I don't got no interest in it, and then he was rejected for it. So it's an interesting dynamic. But let's move on. Let's move on. Oh, Yankee got something to say. What you got to say, boss?
And right there, how he was rejected and how he tries to, that should be a cautionary tale to Christians as well as all Christians and people who are keeping a faith. You cannot serve 2 masters, just like what you said a couple of balloons ago. You cannot serve 2 masters because, like the Lord is. The Lord is a just and an honorable God. He's also a jealous one at that. No master should serve over me because I am one. There's only one God. So to be honest, that's the true statement. That's in all. Just realize if you look at that, that's a true definition of walking and visual definition of trying to be saved, but walking in the path of circularism. Because the way you look at that, you got a guy who is, look at how we're going tit for tat for this guy, man. Because in fact, we can't even tell if he's really actually holding up his belief and walking in the faith. Because in fact, how he just did what he just did, and try to he tried to appease one, but didn't give the other one reference because they was both on the same path, even though one was still trying to go on her path. But he think that he was already beyond her for the path that they're both walking the same time. Crazy work. Crazy work. I can't even fathom that. I can't comprehend that, like, for real. Because that just was really shocked me. I'm like, what the heck? And then all of a sudden he tried to be like, now with the other girl, he wants to, like, what's that word I want to say? He is compromising his own thing just because she's fine. And the power of boners is compelling him. So it goes back to what I say. That's a true definition of it. Once you try to walk this walk, you walk this walk. If they can't follow your walk, then they don't need to be on that walk. They need to find out for themselves.
Right. Okay.
Point blank simple.
Thank you, Mr. Yankee. On fire, on fire, on fire. All right. Let me answer some of these questions real quick. Remember, guys, I'm not a pastor. I'm just a person who has a hunger and desire for the Lord. If you guys do feel like,
we don't claim them titles.
yeah. If God gives it, if God ordains it, I'll take it. But I'm not gonna speak it on myself. You know, I'll let somebody else. But
I can't take it. Women don't pastor.
Dej Love said, "What if you don't say nothing because you know it will lead to an argument?" Well, what did Jesus say? He said, "Fear not. They hated me before they hated you," meaning that they were already rejecting the Christ before they rejected the believers, right? And so it's a matter of, Jesus said when he comes back, he'll come back when everybody has had an opportunity to hear the gospel. He didn't say he's going to come back when everybody decided that they were going to serve God, because there's going to be people whose hearts are not for God, right? So at the end of the day, if you know if you know speaking with God to this person is going to lead to an argument, you can still say what you need to say. It takes a small seed. It takes a small seed, and there's always a different approach, right? If you see a brick wall, you don't always got to run into the wall. You can go around the wall. You can dig under the wall. You can go over the wall. Sometimes if you know that this person is going to be confrontational with you about your gospel, seed that gospel in a different way. Oh, they fall over, you pick them up. Hey, pick them up, dust them off. Hey, God bless you. That's a seed. You get what I'm saying? You can do it in different ways.
Yes.
Smiley asks, does that make him worldly man then? The Bible says that we all fall short, right?
Yes.
We all fall short. Every single person in everything that we do, we all fall short. There's not any of us that lived a sinless life. The only person that lived a sinless life was Christ himself. We all fall short. You can fall short in a way that you don't even realize it. That's why when I repent, I always say, Lord, forgive me for the things that I've done and the things that I know of and don't know of. Right? Because one thing that God says is wrong is to offend somebody. You can offend somebody with a simple message that you don't even know it offended them. Right? Just like some of you guys do subtle sins every day. When you lie in a text message, when you lie because you don't want to go out the house, when you lie because you don't want to go somewhere, it's still a sin. A sin is a sin, and no sin is greater than another sin. Right?
And you have to look at this segment too right now. Even though we're breaking it down, the gentleman that we're having a discussion on, he can look at this and he can find it offensive.
Right. Because
we're assuming where his walk with Christ is. We're assuming if he's worldly or not. We're assuming like just because we're Christians or people are Christians, it doesn't mean we're exempt from experiencing sin and falling short, like Kite said. And at the end of the day, these are conversations that are good to have and good to call out as brothers and sisters of Christ. But we also need to give each other that grace and the benefit of the doubt that sometimes people have a bad day. Sometimes people have an off day. Sometimes, confusion and all that kind of stuff can corrupt our minds, not in ways that we intended to, but everything is so fast paced in the world. Sometimes we try to make sense of things that don't make sense. But that's why it's good to have other saints and other followers call you out and let you know, like, hey, I understand where you was coming from here, and here, but it was kind of a little shaky right here. It's not making any sense. That's not, we got to be able to hold each other accountable, but not in a way to where that it's tearing people down or degrading or putting all of their efforts and work that they put into Christ on the back burner because something like this was broadcasted on the internet and it's just a free-for-all. Because you can be judged by that too.
Right. Miss Price said, Jesus said, my grace is sufficient to keep you from falling. Very true. His grace is sufficient to keep you from falling away from Christ, right? Here's the beautiful thing. Let me pull this scripture up for you guys, and then we're gonna start moving because I know we're holding up, but you know what? When the Spirit of God moves, we have to submit to it, right? So there's a scripture. I'm gonna give it to you guys, right? Proverbs 24. Right? Proverbs 24, 16 through 18. For a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again, but the wicked man shall fall into mischief. Rejoice not when thine enemy falleth, and let not thine heart be glad when he stumbleth, lest the Lord see it and it displease him, and he turn away his wrath from him. Right? So at the end of the day, as people who are pursuing after wisdom, we got to understand that, A, we're gonna fall on this walk. It's a walk, right? If you go and you walk 30 miles, guess what? You're gonna fall to your knees at some point because your legs will get tired, right? So it's a walk. It's not a sprint, it's a walk. So at the end of the day, it's the wise man that gets up. So if you fall 300 times to sin, it's that fact that you got up that 301 time. You get me? That's the beautiful thing of it. And at the end of the day, we shouldn't celebrate or kick people and be proud of somebody's fall either. Because what did they say? It will displease God, and he'll turn his wrath away. Well, guess what? If something's going towards somebody and he turns it away from them, guess where it's coming? It's coming back. Meaning that you could be sitting there pointed, going, ha, you fell, and that wrath come right back to you because you're mocking somebody even though you're not flawless yourselves. That's why one thing I was taught is forgiveness, right? Forgiveness is one of the most difficult things for people to learn. How can I forgive somebody that does me wrong? Well, the Bible says if you forgive them on earth, I'll what? I'll forgive you in heaven.
Forgive you in heaven.
But if you don't forgive them on earth, I won't forgive you in heaven. Because how can you expect me as your supreme ruler to forgive you for what you did, but you can't even forgive the person that you talk to every day for the thing that they did? Why would I do it why would you not be able to do it? So I got to do it? Follow his example.
And people got to understand, when you forgive somebody, it's not necessarily for them. It's for yourself. It's for your own spiritual covering. It's for your own spiritual growth. Because when you don't forgive people, you're holding yourself back from the blessings that God could potentially give you. But because you're choosing to harden your heart and not forgive people, you're always going to be in a stagnant place where you feel like you're not growing with God, or you're not at where you want to be in your life spiritually. It's a lot of things that we're tied to in our flesh and tied to in our spirit that can tether us down from progressing in life. But we can move on to the next topic.
Yeah. So to address these little questions before we move on, and I'm gonna allow Monet and them to speak up because we've been on this topic a long time. Somebody said, how do you help someone you were talking to get stronger in faith, especially if their family is more so not as strong in that faith? How would you bring them closer, knowing that the family members might take them 2 steps back? So it says in John 1 chapter 1 verse 5 that the light shines in the darkness and the darkness has not overcome it. So if you notice, if you take a small flashlight and you point it in a dark room, it will still shine and you can see exactly where the flashlight is, no matter how dark that room is, right? It doesn't matter how small it is or how big it is, you will always see that light. And what happens when that light touches any of that darkness? It will move away. That light overcomes it every time. So even if you only can give them 5 minutes of the gospel versus 10 minutes of insanity that they deal with, that 5 minutes is always gonna overcome. So don't ever feel like it's monotonous. God has a process for everything. You can't, none of us, God does not have thinking like us. He does not think like man. You get me? Why are we demonizing this man for professing his faith? This is why people feel unwelcomed about Christianity as a whole. He gets to choose where he wants to invest his time. I don't think anybody's per se demonizing him. I think people are giving opinions about his actions and the fact that he put his faith as a scapegoat for his actions. But at the end of the day, like, I get how you can get that though, because people are calling him a hypocrite. I get that. So I'm not gonna sit there and act like I don't get what you're saying. So yeah. Okay, this person seems to be seeking God and is attending church, but is still early in the faith. I'm concerned that the church she's attending may not be guided her the way she needs to be in her stage of faith. At the end of the day, whoever God claims as his can't be taken away. The devil has no power to take it away. So just be patient with the process and allow God to do what he needs to do. Let's move on to the next segment, y'all. I'm sorry, we getting preachy, y'all. Let's go. All right, let's go to contestant number 3. She's a returner.
What likes to do for fun?
I like to travel. I like to try new restaurants. I like to spend quality time with friends, loved ones, and I also like fitness and self-care.
Okay. What are some things you look for in a man?
I like a man who takes accountability. I love an honest man. I love a man who communicates properly. And I also love a man who knows how to differentiate between argument and disagreement.
Okay, that's a good one. Now, what are some of your deal breakers?
Deal breakers, lack of accountability, lack of ambition, lack of being financially stable. And that's pretty much it. That sums everything up.
Okay. All right.
So if I remember correctly, this part, a lot of people were on her about, she did end up getting a match, right? I think they asked the question of, what did you learn in your past relationship? And a lot of people got on her because when it came to talk about what she learned, she basically like threw it off as like, oh, I learned like to hold my partner accountable, and like he needed to be more accountable on his part. And a lot of people didn't like that because it's like when somebody's asking you, what did you learn? Or what did you do wrong? Or how did you do this in your last relationship? Nobody wants to hear you say, oh, I didn't do nothing wrong in my relationship. My relationship, I did everything perfect. There was no blah, 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 blah. I didn't need to learn nothing because I was where I needed to be. It's like, okay, so if you're that perfect, why didn't it work then? And if you say it's 100% on the other person, then it's like, okay, we're being disingenuous. All right, let's see.
It takes two to tango.
Let's do it. First up, let's bring up Smiley because I didn't pull him up last time. Go ahead, Smiley.
So my thing is, this lady is she's gonna have a hard time dating, period. And that's just what it is. Like that's like the same lady that popped on the last question, on the last one with the accountability. What's her name? Was Shayna or whatever like that? And
Shay.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So it's like, we avoiding questions in 2024, 2025. That's over whooping. But I really do want to hear what the ladies got to say on this one. So can you please bring them up? Because I want to hear what they got to say if they raise their hand.
Well, ladies, he lit the beacon. What ladies would like to respond to the call about accountability? Let's hear it. Smiley, what is your question to the ladies to make it clear so they have a clear understanding of what you're asking them?
So my question is, why do you think that, like, from a female perspective, why you think that ladies are scared to ask, scared to answer like them type of traumatic questions when it comes to first getting to know somebody, Why you think they scared to admit their faults or anything like that when the relationship first starts, when they in the talking stage and to getting to know someone?
Okay. All right. Did everybody get a clear thing? Or do you guys need me to kite-splain it better for y'all? Everybody understand what the question was?
Go ahead, kite-splain it.
Go ahead, kite-splain it is crazy. He essentially asked, why do you feel like it's so difficult for when women are asked these questions about what did they do wrong or what could they have learned, or questions of self-reflection? What is it about these questions that draw women to shy away from it or have dislike towards it or not want to address it at all? Okay. That's the Kite Splain. Valencia said, any refreshments at the back? There's always refreshments. Let's do it. All right, L Dragon, I'm gonna pull you up because you're the last man up here. I'm gonna pull the two dudes up and I'm gonna let the ladies answer that question. You guys take the time to really think about your answers. L Dragon, go ahead, man.
Yeah, what was the question again?
Oh, that was for the ladies. We talk about for the guys.
Oh,
we talk about the fact that she couldn't address basically talk about what she did wrong in a relationship, and when they asked her, she basically was like, oh, my partner needed to do this, he had to learn accountability, blah 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 blah. Like there was no self-reflection on her answer.
Oh yeah, right. So that whole scene reminded me of season 2 with the guy who asked the whole "Why are you single?" question. And I feel like people are like her are kind of dangerous in a sense because sometimes people really don't think they're the problem. Like they think that they don't have any type of faults or problems. And when you have that kind of mentality, you can't grow, you can't change, you can't elevate yourself. Because if you've been doing something wrong for a long time, but you don't see it as wrong, then in the next relationship you're bound to do it again. Because you don't see as what you did as wrong. And I feel like I personally feel like by her saying that she don't take any accountability, she's basically setting herself up for the next relationship. Like there's nothing she did wrong. Like I'm not saying that she had to intentionally did something wrong, but I feel like there's something that she could have learned about not to do or not to allow someone to do. Like she doesn't even have to like purposely done something wrong. It's not always about who's at fault. It's always about what can I do better.
Right.
Yes, and what you learn.
Overall. Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's basically my take on it.
Okay. Appreciate you. Ladies, are you guys ready? Are all the ladies that want to answer this, are you guys ready? Because we only got 2 women that are brave enough to answer this question. Why do you feel like the ladies have a problem with the questions of what did you do wrong in your last relationship, or what did you learn from your last relationship, etc.? Okay, let's start getting this going. There's somebody who they oh okay, there it is. I was like, she popped up and then her name disappears. First things first, all the gentlemen, put your hands down. This is not our conversation. Gentlemen, put your hands down. This is for the ladies. This is not for us. This is not our fight. This is all right. We asked the question via Smiley, so we gonna get the answer. But I'm gonna get somebody new up here who hasn't spoke yet, and then y'all can go to town. Keshia, go ahead. And while she's coming up, I'm gonna read the chat. Keisha Char said, some may not want to look at their wrongs, probably used to people co-signing their bad ways just because that's my friend, daughter, sister, etc. Not too many people telling them when they're wrong. Okay. Miracle Holmes said, the blame game is easy. It's the ticket out to say I'm not wrong. Y'all did this to me, so own it. Okay. Again, Keshia, if you don't, yep. Oh, okay. I'm gonna click that. It should allow you to come up.
Hi.
Hello. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hi. This is my first time. I'm like a little nervous. So.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous.
All right. Now, I'm just going to be honest about that question because that was a very long-term question.
Okay.
And to answer that question, to me, when I saw that previous Pop the Balloon episode and one of the contestants, when she was asked that question, like the accountability, she didn't want to handle that question. She didn't want to answer. To me, to be honest, that's like it's like a sign of avoidance. Like she's trying to avoid her past relationship. And not only that, but also sometimes you have women that refuse to take accountability. or don't want to like own up their own fault. Like if if you messed up, you messed up. Be a woman, be adult, be honest about yourself.
Okay.
Things happen. We all make mistakes, and it's all part of growth. It's all part of growth. To be honest, it's all part of growth, because at the end of the day, we all make mistakes, and for her to refuse to answer that question, it's like a sign and symptom of a walking red flag. Refusing to take accountability. So that's all I wanted to say.
Can I ask you a question before you go?
Okay.
Yes.
What is it? What do you think causes people to fear that accountability? What do you like, if you can put it in like a box of like the reasons, like what do you think is like a good solid reason why it's so scary for, unfortunately we're talking about women right now, so we're only going to stick to women, but what do you think is so scary for women to talk about that self-reflection?
To answer that question, sometimes it can be like due to the past relationships. In their past, things happen. It could be from due to domestic violence, or it can be due to family trauma. And that cycle kind of like repeats itself until meeting the next person,
right,
once again. That's like setting yourself up for a failure if you continue that same pattern and not speaking up. So I think that's one of the main reason why she kind of like walk away, or she refused to speak up about it. So there's other similar reasons too, or maybe more. But to answer that question, and I'm just going to be bluntly honest about it, because it's important to like speak up, or and even if it's after the Pop the Balloon show, what if it's like a match up with the person, then give it time, give it grace, but be honest. That's all these men, the men want honesty. Be honest. That's all.
Right.
That's pretty much about it.
Thank you so much. And for your first time, I think you did a great job. Okay.
She did amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Hopefully that encourages you to speak. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Everybody make sure y'all tell her happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Good night.
All right. Hopefully she speaks up some more. Okay. Miss Price said it could be pride for some of us. Pride is the downfall of man. So of course it could affect. That could be a good thing. All right. Now we got one of the horsewomen of the apocalypse who has not spoken. She hasn't spoken yet, but now she will speak. Monet, how are you doing?
Hi. I'm doing great. Just got off work, excited for Flock Talk.
Okay.
Big bro, I'm gonna need you to help me demonstrate my point. So I want you to ask me, what did I do wrong in my past relationship?
Okay, I got you right now. So Monet, in your last relationship, as we see that it didn't work out, what did you both do wrong? What did you do wrong, and what did he do wrong?
Well, he cheated on me and he lied to me, but I messed up his car. But it's okay that I did that because he cheated and he lied on me. See, here's why I gave that answer, right? So the biggest problem, as we've said before, delusion is women's biggest problem. I can say that as a woman, and I can say that as somebody who has seen other women in a world filled with delusion. Like, no, we breathe oxygen. No, they breathe on delusion. That's one. Two, it's hard for a woman to be accountable when they don't have accountability in the first place. Because the biggest person to hype you up, the biggest person to oversee your wrongs and just, wipe them under the rug and forget that they exist, is your social group, your family, and any other person that you find to be cool with. And here's the thing. I remember watching her last episode. I think somebody else had asked her that question, or she had asked all the ladies, like, oh, what did you do wrong in your past relationship? And she's like, oh, I popped because I'm not answering that. Here's the thing. I've seen it in a lot of women where it's the thought of a man rejecting them or a man not wanting them because of something that they did. A lot of men will just accept the truth and take it at face value. If they choose to rock with you, they choose to rock with you. But because there's that fear of loneliness, which is a huge problem in America, people have a fear of loneliness, but it's more higher in women. There's that fear of loneliness, and then there's that fear of rejection. So I'm going to paint myself as the prettiest picture, the greatest slice of bread to a man in hopes that he wants me. And then as soon as I secure the bag, that's when I'm just going to air out my dirty laundry. And it's something that a lot of women nowadays are just doing, because everybody knows the intentions that they have for a person when they first meet them. You can call me wrong, you can cuss me out, I don't care. Everybody knows the intentions that they have for a person. So if she saw whenever one of those guys and was like, oh yeah, I want to match with him. Okay, let me see what I can say. Let me see what questions is he going to ask, so that way I can kind of paint myself pretty nice, because this is a first impression. I got to make myself look good. But they keep up that first impression at the entirety of the relationship, which is why accountability is so hard. Because I can't be held accountable for something if I present myself as a beautiful angel to you.
Okay.
That's what I gotta say.
Cook up. Thank you for coming up here. Hopefully you got some more to say later, okay?
Got you.
Let's do it. Remy verse. It's your turn. I hope you're ready to talk.
Hey y'all.
How you doing?
Good evening.
Hey Ram.
Man, I'm doing great. So shoot, Monet just never cooked like that though. Like big ups for the simulation, because that really puts things into perspective for a lot of people that are like still like, oh, what do you mean? No, like that was real live back and forth dialogue for y'all to have like a real live example of what that looks like. And I think also just to piggyback off of what she said, because it was so powerful, it's like, yes, accountability is, you know how people say like the skeletons in your closet? That's who you get before you get to the skeleton. So if I can't meet you at accountability, I'm never going to get to the skeletons in your closet.
Dang, okay.
I'm never going to get there. Like we still trying to we still trying to get past the padlock and the key with the accountability. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
If you really can't be, if women feel like, oh, okay, whether it be society, whether it be pride, whether it be whatever, we create this cloud, right? And I speak from a woman who, I have things that I have been ashamed of, but back then when I was unhealed and I didn't feel like God could forgive me for it.
Right.
That's why I was so ashamed. I felt like he couldn't forgive me for it. So there's no way a man and a lesser being could even meet me to see past my mistakes. So how, you know what I mean? How is that even possible? Right. But when I got to a point where I could face those things and now I'm unshakable in the way where I was like, I've grown from that. Yes, I was wrong in that. And to be able to say I was wrong, but I've grown. People don't feel like people are willing to listen to the other side of, hey, I was wrong, but look, there's some growth here. Because everybody's like, oh yeah, you said you was wrong. Everybody meets them there. So for women, it's like, oh, I have to maintain this perfect image, which really is a cracked image, which is really a piece of an image. You're not ever getting the whole person. Especially coming on dating shows like this, it's like, well, how much do you divulge? Be honest, but not also spill your beans to the internet. So where's the boundary there? So I give them grace when they come on these shows and you want to answer honestly, but then you get 2 seconds of judgment and limited context. And we already talked about judging people from limited context. It's kind of hard. So I will also say, as a woman, you have to be very confident and unshakable in who you are as a person in order to answer a lot of these questions.
Right.
Up front in the beginning, because you do owe somebody that honesty, and you would hope in reciprocity, what you want from a man, you give to a man. So that's my little take on it.
you. Talk to y'all later.
That was good.
Hopefully you come back up. Yep. Good job. Good job. Let me go to the chat, and then Dej, I'm gonna bring you up because you haven't spoke yet. DJ, or why am I saying Dej, bro? Like, all right. But anyway, Keisha Char said, I remember one contestant said some people could be responding to what was done to them, but even still, if you were hurt and then stayed in that relationship and was passive aggressive or spiteful, which a lot of us can be spiteful, then a woman should say that. Yeah, I would make snide comments, or yeah, I would ignore his needs, but you still did wrong in an extent we didn't even speak on at that time. Okay. Kaisha MR11XL said, and yes, the pride itself does put a wedge, and thank you, Miss Price. Deverick Coleman said, is it fair to say that men are more accountable than women in this day and age, or is it about the same? I would say there's a lack of accountability on both sides. I feel like when it comes down to these platforms, it's a lot easier for men to come off, or in like these examples, a lot of men seem to be like fearless when it comes to these questions, because a lot of them, if you notice, they give a similar response. They all say like, oh, it was just this, I didn't do this, I was inattentive. But growing up around all guys the way I did, I saw things, I witnessed things that my cousins and my uncles did that they've lied about to the day they died. You get what I'm saying? And so, yeah, they took partial accountability. They didn't take accountability total. So I don't feel like social media is fair, because women are more dominant on social media. We see the lack of accountability more often, but that doesn't mean that men are sitting there just taking like, oh yeah, we do everything. Yeah, I'll tell you what I did wrong. I did this, and that's what makes me like it or like, nah. It's just we have more examples of women doing it, but there's still men doing it. I think it's an even split. I don't believe men are right, and I don't believe women are right. I feel like we're all wrong because we all won't own up to certain things.
Right.
Miss Price said, I would say the same because I'm married and to a man that doesn't take accountability for anything wrong he did to me. Well, I hope your husband ain't in this chat. I hope your husband ain't in this chat, man. But hey, at the end of the day, your relationship is what your relationship is. Alex, you're so beautiful. Right. Respectfully, KiteZz from Must Clip TV. Alex is very beautiful.
Thank you.
Let's get back to this. DJ Love, let's do it. You have the floor. Welcome.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Hi.
Hi everybody. Thanks for having me. First off, I love what you guys are doing. This is a great conversation, and it definitely like opens up like conversations that we need to talk about as like different communities. And then I personally have learned a lot myself, so I do want to thank you guys. In regards to the question, the first thing that popped up to my mind was like emotion.
Okay.
Like women tend to be a little bit more emotional than men tend to do, and unfortunately feeling wrong doesn't always feel nice. So when you feel wrong about something and you're feeling that emotion behind feeling wrong, like the first thing you want to do is shut down that negative emotion. And by shutting down that negative emotion, you end up soothing yourself. How do you soothe yourself in this regard is by either justifying or passing it off or ignoring it or finding a reason. Another thing that I thought about when Monet was speaking, when she brought up her analogy about like, oh, if like a man, like when the question was asked, like if a man cheated on me, well, I busted his windows, but like, you know, that doesn't even matter because he cheated on me. And a thought that brought up in my mind when she said that was like, well, how exactly are you supposed to take accountability for something when you've justified that you weren't wrong?
Right.
Like in that same analogy, like, yeah, she busted the windows, but like she's not wrong for busting the guy's windows or scratching his car because he cheated on her. So what exactly is she taking accountability for?
Right.
Right. And then also, I think our definition of accountability is that we are wrong, when the definition of accountability is not the fact that you are wrong. It's the definition of accountability is taking responsibility for, right? Like, if when you are accountability, you're taking responsibility for your part. I'm taking responsibility for the fact that I did something that was not necessarily right to do.
Right.
I'm taking responsibility for the fact that I assumed something, or I'm taking responsibility for something. It doesn't always necessarily mean that I'm wrong, but it also means that there is room to grow. And I think the fact that when people hear the word accountability, their first thought is, oh, I have to admit that I'm wrong. I have to admit that I've done something wrong. I am wrong. It's like they're taking on this personality of like being wrong, when it's like you were saying before, like, it's not, you don't hate the sinner, you hate the sinner's actions, right? You are, it's about the action that was done, and that there is redemption in the action, not the fact that you are taking on the personality or the whole persona of that I have done this thing, and now, oh, woe is me, and I'm this terrible person, and now you got to go into a corner and, like, put on sackcloth and ashes and just, be this terrible person. No, it's about, change behavior. It's about taking accountability for what you've done, taking responsibility for what's been done, and then also taking the steps to make a change or a difference.
Right.
Okay. That was
very
fire.
well said.
Hey, like Dragon said, let her cook. Let her cook. Good job. I hope that encourages you to come up here and speak more often, okay? Let's get a little pudding pop back up here. Thank you, DJ Love. Pudding, it's up. You're up. It's up. You're up.
All right. So, what I think the root issue of this whole accountability thing, it's something that has to do with humility. Humility is something that is viewed in a very negative light. It is something that we see as something of weakness, and people can run with that thought or idea that is something that can be used against us. That's why I feel like it's so easier that the women that like Shay would see as, it's not on my part, it's on them. Because it's so easy to point the blame and shift on somebody who has hurt others, who's hurt onto themselves, because they don't want to face the music, the truth, rather than what they've done on their part, on their end. Because it takes two to tango. It takes two people to, talk, have an initial conversation and say, I did this, I'm sorry. You did this, I'm sorry. Let's come together as an agreement, as one, because we're not trying to fall apart in our ways. We're here to come together and solve it.
Right.
It's so easy to, hide our true face, and just play the part of things like things are fine, things are cool. There's nothing that I've done because I put myself high on this pedestal. I've cushioned myself so much to not make others see that I'm weak, that I'm not enough. So I have to bash them.
Right.
In order to get my point across and say, hey, I did this, I'm fine. I don't see like my ways are, better than them because they did this to me. Right. I feel like with humility, it's not either seen as enough as taught as a good thing. Like, hey, this is the learning lesson, because every day is that. Every day is a learning lesson for all of us. So rather than just see as humility as a bad thing, and no, let's embrace it. Accountability can go hand in hand if we all just take some time to ourselves and just accept that, hey, humility is a good, can be seen as a good thing as well, not just bad. Let's not run with that idea of negativity just being flaunted in our lives. It's something that we can work on and be embraced and worked on together. because we all want to come together as one, and the end goal of that is like either marriage, living a happy, life, and raising, your children as walking the path of faith, of good. Let's see more of that rather than, being disapart.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
No, I agree.
Thank you for that answer. That was good. Some of y'all are cooking, man. I'm glad some of y'all are getting out y'all shell. We got a new person. We're going to bring up the new person first. Rena Marie. And before Rena starts speaking, let me address the comment. Danny spoke. Danny, you've been commenting a lot. I'm glad that you're having a good time interacting. She said accountability is often like kryptonite for most women. Oh, real quick, let me do this until I finish. Hold on real fast. Accountability is like kryptonite for most women. The answer women often get excused for misbehavior or defended by other women, so it's hard to do something you've never had to. Okay. All right, Rena, it's all you. It's your talking time. Hello? Is she speaking?
No, it's just her background.
Something is cooking her. Rena, try leaving the call and then coming back. You're in the Matrix right now. Goddess, while we wait for her to come back, it's your turn. Go ahead and talk. I think I heard her. I think her phone was like making her like a part of her background, because I think I heard her say hello.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hello,
Yeah.
Goddess.
Hey guys. So I guess I feel that it's a lot of different factors that can be the root of them not taking accountability, but I did want to say I liked the way that he phrased the question though, because I know we talked the last time about how they need to rephrase certain questions so that it won't come across as like blaming others for certain things. So he said, what's something that you learned from your past relationship. So I really liked that he worded it that way. But I feel like maybe deep down it could be a fear that some people have. They don't want to admit their faults because they feel like it can be, they don't want to feel judged for how they played a role in their relationship. I do agree with what a lot of the others said about societal expectations. A lot of times they want to come across as not being seen as flawed or imperfect. More so like, they want to come across with a certain image or higher standard. Another thing, maybe it could be childhood experiences in a sense, because I know a lot of kids, even like in this generation, their parents are constantly like rescuing them from consequences. So, like, own up to their mistakes. And so they grow up with that mentality of thinking, I can pretty much do whatever I want and I'm not gonna be at fault for it, so that could play a role into it. I've seen that firsthand. And then there was something else I was thinking of. I think trauma experiences. I think somebody touched on that part too. I feel like past trauma can leave you with a lot of emotional scars, kind of feeling or I guess increasing like your fear of being vulnerable. So I feel like they want to protect that inner feeling, and they want to, like I said, come across as stronger, or just not being portrayed in a bad light.
Right.
So that's why a lot of them don't want to take accountability. And it's kind of interesting because was her name Shay? I think.
Yes.
So it was kind of interesting how a lot of them, they kind of push it off on the other person. And she even thought about it too, because she was like, oh, were you talking about like my ex, or are you talking about me? So you can tell like she was trying to process like, oh wait, I don't want to come across as me not taking accountability, so let me try to, give him the answer that he's really. Yeah, I thought that was interesting because a lot of people in the comments too, they'll say like, oh, a lot of these people, they don't want to take accountability and all these things. So part of me feels like she thought of people in the comments might come for her in that sense. So that's why she, like you said, try to clean it up or, Okay. But yeah, this is a random a random comment too about her. Did y'all notice how the last time someone was like, somebody said that they didn't like her hairy legs, and notice how she got her little thigh popping out right now? I guess she was thinking.
Okay. No, that's a good Easter egg to catch. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but that's
good job, Goddess. Getting more and more comfortable speaking. Good job. All right, let's see if Rena, her set is working. Danny said, perfect example. Justifying bad behavior while being held accountable is what typically happens. We have to start telling our friends, sisters, grandmas that they're wrong and that's okay. And for the elders, they think that they're uncheckable. Who can tell them anything? We have to start standing up for what's right, respectfully, no matter what it is. I agree. There is a lot of older people that we can't, they think they're above correction, but God is older than everybody and God corrects everybody. So you're not above anything. Rena, we're going to try it one more time. Okay. Let's see if it's working this time.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yay.
Oh, hey, y'all. First, I'm a huge fan of both of y'all. Like, I follow y'all. I watch that video every week faithfully, so thank you all.
Hey, thank you for being a sport. So, how do you feel about the question? Do you remember the question?
Yes, about the accountability for the woman part?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes. So, if I could, so I'm going to judge by my experience with my last relationship. It lasts like 3 years. So, that relationship was very toxic, I would say, because I think the root was, I feel like I was giving more than he was giving to me, and that caused me to lash out on him. And I was not, for me, for accountability, it wasn't for pride. I think it was more of a shame, because I was ashamed that people will judge me of how I reacted towards our relationship. So he was very narcissist. He was narcissist, and he's a very, not controlling, but he's like manipulating. And then I was more verbal abusive. Okay. So I would tell people what he would do, but then I would never tell. It'd be the truth, but I won't tell the whole story. Yes. And that's because I was ashamed, and then I should have just been upfront. But I learned from it now. And for my next relationship, if I get into one, that I'm going to learn from it. And then I think all this started from my mind's racing, but
no, you're fine. Take your time.
I think it all started from my parents. So I won't get emotional. I had a very traumatic experience with my parents, but I think this was how it started, because I watched how my parents were, and they was very toxic for each other. And then when you see that growing up, that's all you know. So nobody never told me how a relationship supposed to be. So I'm trying to learn, let my experience teach me that this is not how, there's no relationship perfect, but if you have issues, talk it out, and then if it don't work out, you just have to walk away. Don't force a situation, or the person's not giving you what you need. So I'm gonna take this, and then from my next relationship, and then I'm just gonna go from there. What to do and what not to do.
That's good.
That's very good. And I'm sorry that you had that type of experience, but like we say on the channel, just because you started off or you had a bad experience, does that mean that has to dictate how you have to live the rest of your life? So God God allows us to constantly be evolving. That's the beautiful part about being a human, being a living thing, is we can constantly evolve into better creations, right? I think I'm glad you spoke up, because I was kind of waiting for somebody to say it, and I'm glad you said it, right? Shame is a factor. A lot of people account for pride being why people don't own up to what they did, but shame will have you ignore what you did as well. Shame will cause you to curl up and box it off and pretend it never happened to begin with, right? And so it's very good that you brung that up, because even though it wasn't something that everybody else felt, it's still a complete different factor that just runs through it all. And I'm glad you spoke up. I'm glad that you were able to get that out there, because that is also food for thought for a lot of people. A lot of people think that when we're seeing these women say like, oh, well, I don't want to talk about my past. I don't want to talk about my past. We think it's because, they think that it's, we're going to be like, we think that it's pride. We think that they're doing it because they think they're perfect. They think that nothing's wrong. But there is a factor of people where they don't want to tell you it because they think they're the problem in general. And it's going to be shocking. They don't want to hear somebody basically agree with these negative thoughts or this negative opinion on themselves. So I like that you brought that up. Thank you so much for bringing that up, Rena.
You're welcome. And sorry, my Bluetooth was connected, so you heard that Bluetooth in the background.
Oh, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, that happens.
Hey, hopefully this encourages you to speak up more. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, this is my first time, so you will see me more.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, y'all. Hey, and much love to all y'all. At the end of the day, I do. When you guys come and tell us like how much you guys appreciate the stuff we're doing, it does hit different for us, because we're just regular people. You feel what I'm saying? We're just like y'all. We wake up, we do everything. We're not no millionaires, nothing like that. So it does feel good to be acknowledged. At the end of the day, we just always give glory to God. God gave us this. God allowed y'all to come talk with us. Okay. DJ, you want to come back and speak? Go ahead.
I have a question. So, when it comes to like this topic that we're talking about, and I heard a saying that says like, if you don't learn from like your tests, or if you don't learn from, I guess like, if you don't learn in life, you'll end up having to relive that same thing. So I guess the question is like, would you believe that would hold true in like relationships? Because it's like, if you've been given this test of having to learn from this mistake, or learn from this relationship, or learn from whatever it is, would you say that you will continue having to deal with the same type of person or same type of problem until you've learned it?
Okay, so
I agree. I think so.
So here's a beautiful thing, Alex. I'm gonna throw you a lob right now, right? Because this is a beautiful thing of demonstrating how important it is for a husband to teach his wife things, and how important it is for a wife to teach her husband things, right? My dear, what is insanity?
When you constantly do the same thing over and over and over again.
Expecting what?
Expecting a different result, but you get the same result every time. So you know the beginning, the middle, and the end, and you constantly put yourself in a revolving door, expecting yourself to come out of it, but you already know what's causing you to stay stuck inside the revolving door.
Now, my dear, how would you put insanity in the same category with dating? How would you put insanity in dating?
I would put it as people know their right from their wrong when it comes to relationships and people that they should and should not be around. But because we kind of feed into the wants instead of the needs, we tend to put ourselves in situations where you're not supposed to be dibbling and dabbling with a person like this, because through past experiences and through past, like, you know, trials and tribulations dealing with people of this archetype, you know it doesn't end well. But because some of us kind of don't think head on about certain things, or we don't come like tact or calculated when it comes to relationships, we kind of just like jump in of what feels good, what feels right, what sounds good, what sounds right, but isn't really practical for us. And we put ourselves in that insanity. And a lot of times we think, oh, it's the other person that needs to change. No, it's ourselves that need to change, because these people, they're going to come as they are and be what they are. But if you constantly put yourself in a situation where you see like, oh, well, this is not working, like they're constantly doing this, and this, and you get with another person, they're doing the same thing, but you're not removing yourself from those type of people, then yeah, you're driving yourself bonkers. You're kind of going insane at that point.
Right. And the beautiful thing is, a lot of people are, here's another thing. I had Alex do this because this is also something that you guys can do in your walk with Christ. And as you do this with your partner, some of you guys are married or engaged or dating, but you're dating a believer. The Bible says that iron sharpens iron, right? So let me bring up that scripture real quick. Let me bring it up for you guys. So it is Proverbs 27, and this is the 17th verse. It says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another, right? So as her husband, I'm iron and she's iron, but that iron is our faith. And a way that you make iron stronger, the way you make iron into a sword, is you clang it with more iron, and you scrape it with more iron, and you bang it and you melt it and you slam it, and you keep putting that iron to pressure. And that is how you get a sword, which is the thing we use to fight off evil, the wickedness, right? So as her husband, it is important that I'm the leader, but it's also my job to make sure that we have that breastplate of righteousness, and we also have that sword of truth, right? And so I could have easily explained how insanity in dating is, but to sharpen my wife's iron, put her to the fire, put her to the test, and allow her to break it down. And she said it exactly how I would say it. That's what we got to do. So a lot of you guys are in relationships, and you guys are with people who are, they're claiming to believe. Sharpen that iron sometimes. Go up to your husband and be like, hey babe, how do you feel about this scripture? Hey honey, how do you feel about this scripture? Hey honey, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? Constantly sharpen each other, because you never know who you're gonna interact with. You know what I'm saying? You never know who you're gonna speak with. So, DJ Love, I hope that answered your question. I hope Alex answered it correctly. You can tell us yes or no. Oh. It for sure did. Okay. Thank you. All right, y'all. Let's move on. We're getting through most of this. Now we got this young lady here. I'm sure y'all got a lot to say about this one. So let's do it.
I love creativity. So I'm a grad student in an occupational therapy program.
Nice. What are some things you like to do for fun?
I love creativity. So drawing, painting, that era. And also I like to go hiking.
Nice. All right. So what are some things you look for in a man?
Great communication, productive, and God-fearing, please.
All right. And now what are some deal breakers?
No plan for your life and no perspective.
Okay. All right. So we haven't got any pop balloons yet. So
now, to give you guys context on why she received so much flack, this was the young lady that rejected a guy who was 5'6" because she said she wants to look up at her man, and then we found out she was she's 4'11".
Okay, and then one more. All right, let's start with over here. Okay, so why did you have your balloon unpopped for her?
Of course, physical attraction. She looks beautiful. But then I just thought that maybe we could do something like that, go travel somewhere.
We're going to skip past him because I don't care
And
for
how
his
to-
response.
All right, so what do we
appreciate it?
There's no problem. I just had to tell you.
I appreciate it.
All right, and then we did pop one more down here. Okay, Eddie, why did you have your balloon unpop?
Yeah, I like your smile. I wanted to hear a little bit more, get to know you a little bit more. So, yeah.
Okay, all right, so why do we end up popping his?
The only thing is, I understand I'm short. I get that. I am pretty short, and I'm shorter, you know, but it's just you're short too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it.
Okay. And how tall are you?
I'm like 4'11".
Oh my God. Okay, and how tall are you again, Eddie?
5'9".
5'9".
Yeah.
Oh, it was even worse. I guess I got it wrong. Okay. So, one theme that we keep having a problem with is preferences in this show, right? Because everybody wants to justify preferences. But at what point, this is my question, at what point do we start addressing that preferences are keeping people single to the highest degree? We have now just watched a 4'11" female reject a 5'9" male because she has a preference in taller men, and that she wants, when she's with her man, to look up at her man, even though 4'11" to 5'9", that means when she takes those platforms off, she's at his chest. She would have to look up at him to begin with. So when do we start talking about how preferences are doing damage to people? That's my question. When do we start addressing it? Because we're dying on hills for preferences, but we watch hundreds and hundreds of people die alone because of preferences. The height elitist, Miracle Holmes. If he ain't LeBron James height or Shaq height, she don't want it, right? If you aren't 6'10", they aren't looking for you, right? Preferences can be dangerous. Now, let's talk about it. Smiley.
They don't even be factoring all the stuff that tall people got to go through.
Exactly. Smiley, how you doing?
It hurts.
And oh my God, Alex, how you doing, Kai? You just jumped on what I was just finna say. They be over whooping because if they do get a dude with them type of preferences, oh, I want to do with 12 inches. She can't handle all that. I wanna, you feel me? Like let's be honest. And no, but I'm being serious though. You get what I'm saying? Like it's just one of them things. When you get your preferences, you can't handle it. You get what I'm saying? That's wild. Over whooping. And the black community, we the only people that be down over these stupid preferences. You feel me? No other community be talking that dumb. That's why they get married first and have kids first. You know, we need to do better.
You know, he's not wrong, right? He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
No.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. It didn't help that I immediately looked at the comment. First thing I saw was Devrick say, brother said a whole foot. It's like,
no, but they can't handle that. No Diddy, man. They can't.
He's not wrong. But let's keep it. Let's keep it to height.
I'm sorry.
No, you good. You good.
But I'm just using that as an example of like just ridiculousness. You feel me? And not to be all vulgar, but I'm sorry, guys, but I'm just saying, like, it's like something that I'm really passionate about. So,
I understand.
We all need to be realistic. Like, unless y'all want to die with cats. If that's what y'all want, then okay. But stop over whooping, man. Be realistic.
Right.
Realism is the key word. Being realistic.
Okay. Smiley.
I had to Lysol my room, y'all.
Smiley.
He was talking that crazy.
He's not wrong, right? He's
That's
not
my
wrong,
boy.
though. He's not wrong though. But
No.
yeah, let's bring it back to height. Let's bring it back to height. Let's bring it back to height. All right, talk your talk though. Monet, go ahead.
Alright, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's the analogy that I want to use, right? As far as preferences and where it comes to height. I like to have, when I go to restaurants and stuff, I like to have a thick slice of bacon that's crispy and really soft. Like, you can really do it. Honestly, like, you could have a crispy piece of bacon and it still be soft, but that's what I prefer.
Right.
And when I don't get it, do I get upset because I don't like soft bacon. But here's the thing. I have that preference in mind, but I know for a fact that when I go to that restaurant, there's going to be somebody in the back that don't know how to cook my bacon, and I just have to be happy with what comes on my plate.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So see where I'm going with this. I'm going to stay with me. Stay with me.
I'm with you.
Your preferences. Your preferences set you up to be unhappy, because with the preferences, you're automatically tuning your eyes to have a certain prescription of what you want to see and only what you want to have. Like, I want to have that crispy bacon, but I know for a fact there's going to be somebody in the back that's not going to cook my crispy bacon. So I have to be okay with what's presented to me anyway, because what am I going to do? Tell the chef to remake it again? He probably never made crispy bacon that's still soft in his life. So I can't fault him for that. But the thing is with preferences is that preferences can get disrespectful. That's one, because you trying to make somebody fit into a box that they can't fit into in the first place. Trying to have somebody fit in an extra large shirt when they're damn near medium. Make it make sense. Don't make sense at all. And it's like the whole height thing is stupid. One, because I've seen it a lot. A lot of women nowadays don't understand the actual concept of height. That's one. Their perception of height and how tall things actually are very messed up and very warped. Their perception is off. And they're like, she was like, well, he's too short for me. First of all, anybody who's taller than 5'2" is taller than you. You look at that freaking Arlette. You look at that Arlette. The only person you look down on is a kindergartner. Like, be for real. Be for real.
I don't
Even
mean,
though the kids be kind of big now, Monet.
I don't mean to interrupt.
I know.
I don't mean to interrupt, but she was in the middle of her bacon rant, and somebody said, "Where did it go? Did you delete it, you feed?" Lil Pudding Pop said, "Who jacked up her bacon?" Like she was beefing with somebody.
Alright,
I'm gonna stop laughing because I'm giving myself a headache, bro.
Serious.
No, that was a good analogy, Monet.
I take my bacon seriously. Even though the pig ain't good for you, I take my bacon seriously. But
not the swine.
But yeah, it's just like preferences will keep you single, because you're tuning when you're supposed to have 20/20 vision. You make your eyes have 20/100 vision, because you only see what you want to see. You only see what you think you want, what you think you need. That's the problem.
You missed that part. She was cooking.
Exactly. I don't need, but I want bacon, so I'm gonna tune my eyes to some crispy bacon that's still soft. Thank you. Mic drop.
Mic drop on bacon. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Mic drop on the bacon. Let's freaking do it. All right. Y'all got a lot of on y'all plate to fill up, man. Let's see. Goddess, you up? You know, Danny said, I need to join the next Flock Talk. This was good. For sure. We always welcome everybody. This is an opportunity for y'all to plug yourselves, talk y'all talks. If y'all got channels and stuff, I don't care if you shameless plug it. This is about building a community. I want us to build a community of people that just interact, make content, have fun, be a good vibe, be a support system. So do what you got to do. Can we please make this relationship and dating as Christians a recurrent topic? Y'all are great at speaking on the topic. I mean, The Flock Talk will always talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. If you guys lead the conversation to that, we will talk about it. At the end of the day, this is just us. We are just people providing the platform. You guys are the ones that control which direction the platform is going, right? Well, God is leading, but you feel what I'm saying? Goddess, go ahead. Right. Talk your talk about the preferences.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, that comment that she made about him being short really pissed me off, because like, no offense to her, but I'm like, really, you are 1 inch away of being considered like a dwarf. You know, no disrespect to that, but I'm like, that is so insulting to say to someone. And I feel like a lot of people have unrealistic preferences. I feel like there's a difference between realistic and unrealistic preferences, right? Because, for example, she's not willing to choose someone that is, you know, 5'9", just because she believes he's short. And I feel as if that is the reason why a lot of these people, not just women, but in general, a lot of these people are single, is because your preferences are holding you back from meeting, you know, like, they're not willing to compromise or being open-minded to seek beyond, you know. And that's the reason why they're not able to find a good match, because in their eyes they feel like they're settling for less if they're not compromised, or if they're not kind of not following through with their preference. So I just feel like they need to have more realistic standards or preferences when it comes to that sense, because you need to be more adaptive and not feeling like you're settling just because you're not going to stick to what you originally set out for. And I feel like sometimes you have to take a chance, because you never know, that could be the love of your life, but because you said, oh, he's so short, then you're missing out on that potential. You're dismissing the potential in front of you due to your fear of fostering like a new love or growth because of that quality that you feel like he's lacking in your eyes, you know. So I just don't like that. I just wish that they could be more open-minded with a lot of things. And it's just really annoying, especially when they're that short. Calling someone else short is really bizarre to me. I can't stand that. So yeah, seriously, it's really annoying, because I mean, even myself, for example, I mean, I'm 5'7", and if I were to come across a guy like 5'9" and I have on heels, I'm not gonna be like, oh, you're short, when the reality is, you take off those heels, you're shorter than him at the end of the day still.
Right.
So it's just really weird. But yeah.
Okay. Good job, Goddess.
I agree.
All right, let's move on to the next person. Bum 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 bum. Nitro. Let's hear it.
So it's about the preference on height, right?
Yeah, it's about when it's the conversation of when do we start acknowledging that the preferences is what's keeping people single. If you want to lead it to height, go ahead, do your thing.
Oh no, I thought that was what it was. I heard you mention.
Yeah,
it
no,
earlier,
it's based off of the fact that her
I wanted
preference
to
is a
actually
taller man.
answer that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but what you just said again is actually what I wanted to answer. So thank you for repeating it. You're like, when do we start addressing and holding accountable? This is the reason why those preferences, right? What if I told you we've been doing that and nobody's listening? So you're talking about when, but we've been doing it, however many years you want to put on a calendar, whether those years exist or not, you put that number up. It's probably been addressed since who knows how long we've been alive for, but longer. Right? So we've been addressing it, but people with preferences feel probably like, yo, I can get what I want. I can get what I want. So I don't have to sacrifice on it. Right? But it's been being addressed, and no one wants to do those sacrifices. When you don't sacrifice for somebody, then they're not going to tend to feel respected or loved, and then you grow apart or whatever, and now everybody's divided and going against each other, right? Because you're not treating me this way or not.
Okay. No, you're 100% right. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, so it was just that I was just talking like we've been addressing it.
Right. Okay. No, we have been addressing it. Nitro is cooking. Cinder, Mr. Sicky, he actually left a statement. So I'm going to read it out for him. I will be the voice of Cinder. For Cinderoni is sick. Prayers for Cinder. Cinder said, the word preference has been misused for years at this point. You can prefer ketchup over mustard, which means you wouldn't turn down mustard. Yet, by these people's preferences, they will not date a short dude except if he exceeds any other preference on an extreme level. Finances, for example. Right. That's a great way to put it. And unfortunately, he is sick, so he can't speak up for himself. So I'll speak up for him. I got you, Cinderoni. Mecha Blue Phoenix.
Where did this come from?
What, Cinderoni? I've been calling him Cinderoni for months.
Southern drawl you just had.
Cause
a Southern lisp.
Hi Mecha, how you doing, gang?
I'm alright. Y'all made great points. Low-key kind of feeling a little bit of nerves, but I'm gonna get through this. But I'll just say about this preference thing. Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's a huge obstacle that we've been dealing with for years. And it's kind of minuscule, and it's kind of like getting annoying because, like we were talking about the mustard thing. I'm like this. In middle school, there's a difference between a dictionary and the thesaurus, correct?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The dictionary gives off the different terms. The thesaurus is going to give you words, maybe even some phrases that are similar, if not the same. Okay. When it comes down to when people say type or preferences, they're not the same word. And I feel like some people need to read that dictionary to understand what a preference is. Because a lot of times I feel like some people just using a lot of incoherent babble just to hear themselves talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's true. Talk your talk. Talk your talk. Like Alex says all the time, it's nothing but word soup. Thank you, Mecca. Appreciate you, gay.
No problem.
Remy. Talk to us.
Okay. So I'm not gonna be as nice.
Okay.
I would just say you have to just first and foremost, stop looking at what your neighbor got. Like, stop looking at what everybody. That's what dating is now. Everybody's looking at, who's the next best thing to have. That's why everybody got BBLs, not to body shame anybody, but y'all was looking at, that's the most aspiring thing. That's the trending thing. Height is not a trend based off, you know what I mean? Like it's an actual thing. If you are 4'11", it doesn't really make sense for you to be with anybody over what 5'6", 5'7", maybe, right? Because what are y'all doing? How are you going to structure your home? Like, you want to be with a dude that's 6'6", you're 4'11". How are you reaching the cabinets? How is he getting under any doorways? What are we doing? You're looking at somebody else wanting to get hugged. I want to feel small. You're small relatively next to anything. If anything, I would be terrified to walk outside my house on a regular basis. So, and as a woman that's 5'9", it's not a lot of men also. And it plays a reverse because then you have men of 6'6" some stature, like, I want a woman that's smaller, right? And then when a woman that is 4'11" is looking like, I'm smaller, and they're like, you're too small. They don't understand how to grasp that because you're not within his spectrum of dating. and height to him. Like, how do you think he feels looking down at you at that eye level? Some men, and the guys can chime in on this because I'm not going to speak for nobody. Some men say it's almost, in a way, childlike to be with a woman that's under a certain height in perspective to their height. So if you're 6'6" with a woman that's 4'11", that might be standing next to, you know what I mean? Like standing next to a child. And I'm not saying they look at the woman as a child because, you know, but in perspective to height, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why some men like, I want a woman that's a bit taller. I've been told that. So I just want can the guys chime in on that a little bit? Because I don't want nobody to take what I'm saying as a like in the wrong way.
Okay, guys, y'all heard the question. Remy, thank you for asking the question. So, wait, before you go. Oh,
wait, bring her back. Come back, Remy.
So the gentlemen, get ready. Y'all about to answer this question. Remy. Pose your question pose your question as a question.
And if we're going to use height as the benchmark for the preference, right, as preferences of how do men feel when women who are a small stature, petite stature, are seeking them and they're at a certain height? Do you guys view women that are small in stature as something that you would prefer on the reverse?
Okay.
I'm just saying that because, you know, a lot of men who are 6'6", I'll just add this too, that are basketball height, want children that are also of that height.
Right.
So y'all are basing things off of preference, and they might be basing things off of long-term financial or legacy goals. They might not want a child that's 5 feet tall.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. She asked the question. Men, if you can answer it, come on up. If you can answer that question, do you as a person at your height view a woman that is at a small stature in a childlike state? Or how do you view it when the woman is that small compared to you? While the men are getting their answers ready, let's talk about the chat real quick. Positively Speaking said, I don't like when they say they're taller and they have on heels. That is delusion. We can address can we address the flashiness and leading with money and brands? For an example, with the guy with glasses, we probably will have to take that to the next Flock Talk. But that is a good, I'll write that down. Too many people with trying to build relationships and bond through their trauma. Also, gender roles need to return to relationships in 2025. Unfortunately, the way the world's going, you have a group of people that is a minority that for some reason is the vocal majority that keeps getting everything that comes from man and woman just completely gutted. It's to the point where I can't even enjoy a video game no more because my character's got to be a man, female, non-binary. It's just like it's over. We're cooked. God's coming back soon and we're cooked.
3 letters.
Yeah. Demetrius Jeffrey said, Miracle Holmes, that's another good point. Flashiness and shouting out brands is unnecessary because I just don't get it. Cedric Carson said, AKA Reactions, salute to you, big dog. Positively Speaking said, I think social media has blinded us on what is attractive. Long hair, straight hair, tall, lean, thick, etc. Filters are causing many to be delusional. You know, Danny said 4'11", wanting someone 6 feet is actually insane. LOL, glad the men are height shaming back. We need two-way streets. Okay. As a man who's 6'4", this height thing is nuts. They are looking for NBA college players. Demetrius responded to it, said, facts, those dudes, those are the type of women want a LeBron or a Kevin Durant type of dude. You know, Danny said, I'm 5'2" and I've never made a height a big deal because most men are going to be taller than me. All right, let's do it. Man, I hope you guys have taken the time to think about it. I don't got no opinion on it because Alex is tall and I'm 6 feet. Alex is 5'9". I don't really look down at my wife, so I've never viewed that, and I've never dated a girl that was under 5'6". So I don't know. I don't have that experience. But let's do it. Jules, you're up first.
Here. As a person who is 5'9", I kind of felt offended by her, especially at least with me regarding preference-wise. Honestly, if a girl's taller than me, that's fine. If a girl's shorter than me, that's fine. I can really care less about height. As long as we have a good vibe, that's my only concern.
Okay. And how do you feel about the question that she asked? When a girl is like super small compared to you, do you view them at like a childlike state, or what is your view process towards them?
Honestly, well, to be honest,
you can be blunt.
Speaking for me personally, I don't really have that I sort of kind of have that concern, only because nowadays in society, I just don't want to get looked at for being like a
weirdo.
For like, yes,
yeah,
thank you.
A weirdo. Okay.
Yeah, like a creepy person, or dare I say it? I just don't want to be looked at like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my viewpoint on the whole subject.
Right.
But yeah, that's really about it.
Okay. Thank you. Young Smiley, go ahead.
Okay, so to answer that lady question, that was a wonderful question, might I add, and a lot of people don't think about it like this from a male perspective, right? Let's say, and I think the only reason why females only say that because they want their kids to be tall, or you get what I'm saying? It's more on the deeper scale. But let's say if I have kids with you, and you like, let's say I'm 6'6", and the girl is like 4'10", she might have the height of the female.
Mm-hmm.
You get, or the might have the height of the girl. So really, you could be messing up the dude genetics by doing that. Not saying 4'11" is messing up, anything, but it's like, if we looking at it from that aspect of what they say, a taller man equals a taller kid or anything like that, it's like, but what about your genetics? People don't think about their genetics, or like heart, or like, medical genetics or anything like that. Like, that could mess up anything too on your end, not just their end. So I think people only think about it from a selfish aspect for what they want to see from other people,
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So like, yeah. And another thing I do got to say though, and I really wanted to say this, everybody want a Superman, and it's cool for women and men. Everybody want a Superman and a Superwoman, but they walk past a Clark Kent every day.
Talk your talk.
You get what I'm saying? Everybody want a Peter Parker. I mean, a Spider-Man, but they walk past Peter Parker every day. Come on, you get what I'm saying? They overwhooping, they looking over the average 9-to-5 man because they looking at what social media is feeding them. Oh, the lavish lifestyle. No, go for that regular dude. Go for that regular church girl. Forget what this social media has brainwashed us to believe, because that ain't reality. You get what I'm saying? So don't walk past that Clark Kent. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Be with that Clark Kent. And you feel me?
Right.
Okay. You cook with that one, because I got your reference. For those that don't get the reference.
I agree with what Smiley was saying.
Go ahead. Go ahead, baby.
No, I was just gonna say I agree with what Smiley was saying. Especially for the fact, like, I think it's okay for people to have their preference, right? It's cool you could like and want tall men or women or whatever the case may be, but just because you like it and you want it doesn't necessarily mean that you need it. And like what I said earlier, like, a lot of people, they want to date taller people because it look good, it sound good, or it feel good. But at the end of the day, people don't take into consideration like what people of any height stature can go through. Same thing what Smiley was saying. We're not thinking about people's genetics and like what they go through. Yeah, you may see a 6 foot tall man, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", but his grandfather could have been 5'7". His grandmother could have been 5'9". The odds of you actually getting a 6 foot tall child is kind of slim, and I kind of feel like sometimes people kind of like fetishize that, like, I gotta have a big tall family, I gotta have this, that, and the third. Like, my grandfather was 6'8". My mom is 5'7". My dad is 5'6", and I'm 5'9". I did not come out 6'3".
Right.
It's not, you know, you're not always gonna get what you want out of these scenarios, but you know.
Okay. Oh, you talk.
Go ahead.
No, you good. Mecca, you're up.
No, you getting tired. Come on.
Who, me?
Mm-hmm.
Mecca, talk. I'm just hungry. I'm not even gonna cat with you. I'm just hungry.
Oh, okay.
No,
my
Mecca,
thoughts on this is okay. So I don't know if you can hear me. There's a delay, but my whole thing on this is, you talking about the height thing, right? I forgot the question. I'm sorry. Someone relate a question to me.
Remy's question was, as a man, when you view these women who have these height preferences and they want these 6 foot dudes, these 6'10" dudes, but they're like 4'11", in the flip side, how do you feel about these women who are at your height, phenomenally smaller than you? Do you feel like it's kind of like childish? What do you like? What is your perception of it?
So my perception of it is, I'll say my preference is usually between average and BBW. It's like, it kind of, to me, it feels like I'm talking to a child, and I'm like, I'm not on that. And two, people seem to forget these two terms, and which is the dominant gene and the recessive gene. Usually the dominant gene is usually the man it could be strong jawline, it could be cheekbones, it could be a big forehead, whatever the case may be. And then on a recessive gene, it could be shorter height. For example, my dad was 6'5", my mom was 5'2". Guess what height I am? 5'11". So I find it kind of very extremely delusional when I see and listen to some women talk about this. It's just like, I listen to it and I'm just like, it's nonsense. And at that point, I'm like, okay, you can go be Alice in Wonderland, Sleeping Beauty in La La Land, because I'm not about to deal with you. I've talked to people that were between 5'3" and 5'9". It does not bother me about height. It's just more of what kind of, like y'all said before, genes. People don't really understand about the height thing, because there are many people, like my dad, he had knee problems. A lot of people don't realize short people, there are some advantages to them too. They could be aerodynamic. They can run fast. They can run faster. They could, get into some places we can't. So it's like, it's not fair, and there needs to be more equity all across the board.
Right.
Okay.
Talk your talk.
That's what I said in the chats. I said the tall people experience a lot of conditions. Like my brother, he's 6'3". He has Slaughter's disease, where his joints grow faster than his body, and he can't even play his favorite sport anymore that he grew into as a kid. He played basketball majority of his life. When he hit 16, 17, they told him he couldn't play basketball anymore, because there's a lot of things that you have to consider when you're dating somebody of certain statures and all that kind of stuff. So it's not just like a fantasy thing or a fetish thing. Like, you got to be able to consider all aspects of this person as an individual, not just for their height.
Right. L Dragon, last but not least. L Dragon, talk your talk.
Yes. So what was the question again?
As a man, I don't know your height, but as your man of your stature, when you date a woman,
5'11".
Okay, 5'11". So as a 5'11", when you are approached by, let's say, a woman that is 4'11", 5 feet, do you get the perception that this woman is childlike, or what is your view towards women who are smaller than you?
My overall view, I don't really have a view per se as far as their height, because at the end of the day, their height isn't really gonna make this relationship last. It's not gonna raise my kids. It's not gonna do any of that. Now, as far as what Jules said, of there being a potential view as me being or some sort, that could be a potential situation. But other than that, I'm not really thinking about that. And as I've learned and been watching these videos, I've learned something as far as the height and preference. The problem in today's society is that people are turning their preferences into standards as far as height.
Right.
And by that I mean that people who have preferences are not, it's not really a preference, it's really a standard. And if someone doesn't meet their quote unquote preference, which is really a standard, they're not going to give them any sort of time. And this might be how I feel, but I personally feel that these people who are like 4'11" want these 6-foot people, that if that's their preference, I don't really think that's really their preference. I really think that they be seeing people. I really think that that's not even their preference. It's really other people's preferences, and they're embodying that as theirs because they think that just because it works for them, that it's going to work for you, and that's not how it works.
Right.
So I really feel that we need to understand why exactly do we have this preference. Like, is it really benefiting us, or do we just feel like it's benefiting us because it helps other people? And as far as the height, in terms of someone having heels and they're looking right at me as opposed to them without heels, this is all I gotta say. You are this height today, but I am this height every day. And that's all I gotta say.
Good job, Dragon. Talk to him. Uchi, let's do it.
I think, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. It's Cheers.
Yes,
How you
sir.
doing, man?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yes, sir.
Got some life situations over here, but we're back. We're prevailing. God is with us, so
Amen.
Can't complain.
Amen.
Yeah, I think a lot of people touched on some really good points, but my only take, honestly, is the dating world right now, the society that we live in, has no connection. It's all these artificial things, that this checklist that people have to meet, or these standards people have to meet. So with height, the problem is with a lot of people, it's not what they think height is. This is my opinion, right? It's what other people think. So it's how you're being perceived by others. So if we're in public and I am seen with so and so, am I seen with a short guy and I'm the tallest one, or is he shorter? Like that type of perception versus what do I even get? What kind of connection do I get from this person? What kind of, is he a good person? Is he a good human? Does he have good morals? Does he have a great family? Does he believe in God? Those type of things. It's all about how other people perceive that person when they're seen or heard about. That's my opinion. So when it comes to height, like, it's just, oh, nope, you're short, because when we're out and about, or my friends see us, either they'll mock me or they'll say things behind my back because you're shorter than me, versus, wait, how about they get to know this person? Is this person even treating you right? You could have all those things on the checklist and be a complete horrible human. But that's just what I think. It's just that we lack that sense of connection with one another. So we just go off of things on the checklist, and then people end up in relationships don't even last because we're chasing something that was unrealistic. But that's just it for me.
Good job. That was good, man. All right, let's get Goddess up here. Uchias, thank you so much, man. And it's a pleasure to have you back. hopefully you pop up in the next time we do these. All right, man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Safety. Goddess.
All right. So, I just wanted to elaborate with what L Dragon said. I liked how he mentioned that a lot of people put their preferences as a standard, because a preference, in my opinion, is something that you can be flexible with, you know, such as something that you desire, but you're willing to work around it a bit. Whereas the standard, I feel, is kind of like a deal breaker for you, or non-negotiable. So, for instance, let's say a preference for someone could be, I prefer someone that, you know, lives near the same city as I do. However, I don't mind if they live a bit further out, like an hour or two from me, you know? Versus a standard could be like, I do not want to date someone that has kids. So I feel like preferences, as he mentioned, are more prioritized versus a standard. And that's why the distinction is not resonating with a lot of people who are watching the show, is because we're realizing that they're more dismissive of people not abiding by their preference versus focusing more so on a standard. So I guess to close it off, I would say that I feel a lot of individuals need to take into consideration that they need to look within themselves and see the preferences that they're setting for themselves are the reason why that they're single. Meanwhile, the focus more so on a standard, something that they're not willing to compromise, but that makes sense. You know, such as maybe dating with someone who has kids, or dating someone who drinks excessively or smokes excessively, things like that.
Right.
So that's just what I wanted to close off with, is just make sure that you keep your standards the priority. Don't confuse that with a preference, because the preferences, you can be flexible with it. And if you want to keep putting that preference as your main concern, then you're just going to be having a lot of issues with the dating scene. And you need to really look within yourself and think about how you can make that change and be more open-minded and be considerate of what is realistic and what's not. So yep, that's all I gotta say. Thank you, love you guys, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Goddess. Have a good sleep, because I know you're about to go to bed. All right.
It's my bedtime, y'all.
Yep. Thank you to everybody. I'm gonna read off these last comments and then we're gonna wrap this up, guys, so you guys can get to you guys this night. Brenda Willis said, I'm 5'3". I never cared about height. Most men are going to be taller than me. Miracle Holmes said, they want height so bad they overlook personality qualities of a good man husband, red flags, signs of care or abuse. Keisha Char said, I'm 5'4". I've talked with guys that were about the same height as me. One was 5'3". The tallest was 6'3". I've dated more guys under 6 foot. Height should not be a top priority. Positively Speaking said, it's this whole social media thing. That platform is now setting the standard. Miracle Holmes said, if they want tall, they better go to a local zoo and look at a giraffe king right there. And then finally, Phantom Premium said, I don't look at a woman differently based on their height. If she's shorter than me, that doesn't mean she's childlike or immature. You have to just get to know the person before coming to any conclusions. Right. All right, y'all. So we're going to wrap it up.
Good.
I would like to humbly thank you guys all for taking this time out of your day to be with us and talk with us. I thank you guys all for everybody that spoke up and shared their opinions, everybody that spoke up and just did something, even if they weren't comfortable. I respect you for coming out your comfort zone. Speaking in front of people is not easy. So I also would like to thank my wife. Thank you for doing this content with me. And I would like to humbly thank God for even giving me the platform to be able to talk to people, because I am a nobody, right? Alex, you got anything to say? And then we're going to end it off.
Just those of y'all that, that believe, keep God in your life first. Those that are curious about God, he'll always put himself in situations where you can always come to him. He's open. He's welcoming to all. I appreciate y'all for taking time out of the day. I know a lot of y'all just came off of work, or it's late where you are. So we really appreciate you guys coming in. Those that didn't get to speak, that wanted to speak, that were kind of scared and nervous, you speak whenever you feel comfortable. But one tip that I could recommend to everyone that has not spoken yet, is that just remember, like, we're talking amongst peers, we're talking amongst like-minded people, we're talking amongst friends and like really nice, respectful people. And to make it easier on yourself, try joining some of the voice calls throughout the week, just to get used to talking to other people. That way, when you do eventually end up joining the panel, it's a lot easier for you. Forget that it's being recorded, forget that it's all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, it's just a conversation amongst, friends and, just supporters in general. So thank y'all for being here. Y'all had some good talking points this episode, and it's been good.
All right, y'all. Also, big super shout out to Zeus Titan. Thank you for the $50 bomb you gave us earlier. We appreciate you. We always appreciate the donations. Shout out to all the community members. Merch, more merch is on the way. We're gonna have some more stuff. If you guys have ideas for merch that you guys would like from catchphrases that are on the show, go ahead and hit it up. 2G1A merch.
Just ping me so I can make them.
Yep, we got it. The God Gaming Anime hoodies. We're gonna get some more. I want a red one. That's what I'm gonna get. But the Discord, somebody put it in the YouTube. The Discord is always available. Just come in. Please be respectful. A lot of people, there's a lot of people of all ages in the Discord, so be mindful of what you say, how you say it. Let's be respectful. But anyway, I love you guys. I love everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to always like videos and whatever. This will be posted tomorrow. All right, y'all. Bye. Peace.